Greetings! What is up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is shining and the magpie is casting. Coming to you guys this lockdown Blur's Day, the 26th of May, with a little bit of Midday Magpie. Yay! So this is the thing I'm doing all this week, just kind of getting used to streaming, trying some stuff out. Yeah, you can catch Midday Magpie Monday to Friday this week at midday UK time. That's 1100 hours GMT. So you can use Google to figure out whatever that will be for you. And it would be awesome if you fancy joining me anytime you can this week. And of course, for those of you who can't, you can catch the VODs on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/magpie842. So, to kick things off today, I think we're going to jump straight on in to a little bit of Company of Heroes 2. We've got a game loaded up here. So why don't we go ahead in and introduce our two players. Whoops, look at that. That spoiler blocker is not correctly aligned. Just give me 1 second. Whoop. Smooth. Is that perfect? I have this thing about getting it pixel perfect. Alright, there we go. Cool. Alright, so let's go ahead and introduce our two players as we get this game underway. Spawning here in the east, playing as the Wehrmacht pieces, it is going to be TR's Fire and Terror. It's going to go ahead and pick the Ostrupen Doctrine straight away, which is really good news because I'm getting a little bit sick of seeing Wehrmacht players choose the German Infantry Doctrine, and I think Ostrupen Doctrine is actually just one of the cooler, most fun, and definitely powerful commanders that you have access to as a Wehrmacht player. Spawning in the west, playing as the American pieces, it is a barcode. So, yeah, this is clearly a player who values anonymity on the ladder, and going to be using a barcode here to protect their identity. I don't know, some people just like to do this. I suppose if you are playing the game a lot, people could sort of recognize your name and figure out sort of the kinds of strategies or tactics that they might have experienced from you in the past. This is usually much more prolific in other games, to be honest, but barcoding does seem to be creeping into Company of Heroes, so there we go. Going to be playing as UKF, going to be rolling with the Special Operation Doctrine. That's this guy. No, it's the Commando Regiment. Good God. The Mobile Assault Regiment and the Tactical Support Regiment. Datton Calendar is raiding with a party of 7. Hell yeah! What the hell? Sweet! Oh, dude, that's so sick. And look, a notification worked. That is a notification for which I haven't set up a custom sound or GIF, but damn, notifications seem to be working today. Yeah! Oh, that is so hench. Man. Hey, Datton, good to see you, bro. Hey, Emma Duranki, good morning to you, friend. Glad you could make it for a little bit of Midday Magpie here. As we've got an Ostrupen build here. MG42 is on the field with double Ostrupen. We're going to be laying into these Tommies here, so this will be a nice fight for the Axis player. Who's also got a squad of Strupens down here in the south. Oh, sorry, those are the Pioneers, going to be grabbing fuel. There are Tommies just to the north of this, but honestly, they don't really want to join this fight. They'll just get beaten up by 3 Axis squads. I don't know about even revealing the Tommies here, but okay, he's going to go ahead and throw them into this building, start taking some lean Enfield shots into these guys there. So, cool. That is so sick. Hey, look, the notifications are like totally working and everything. Hey, wicked. Alright, okay, cool. Yeah, I did a little bit of work this morning on like trying to get things to work. We got polls to work, I think. We've got alerts, the chats, well, that's always been working. And yeah, we got the event list and everything. So, cool. Raiding with a party of 7. That's pretty exciting. That's like... That's so sweet. Oh my god. We're up to 14 viewers. This is like a new record for me this month. Well, thank you very much. This is so sweet. Greetings and a very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're going to be casting some Company of Heroes 2 games this morning. And yeah, hoping that this first one is going to be a banger. It's getting set up well. Neither player getting off to an absolutely horrendous start, although I will say that Barcode not having the best of luck in these early engagements. It's all good and well getting 3-on-1 in your first sort of out of fog of war engagement, but then the second one kind of fed those Tommies in there. Not really finding the most value. Picking down the MG42 is decent though, and that will force the machine gun back. So without that technicality, without that brute force, TR, Fire and Terror probably will have a much more difficult time taking fights against these Tommies. Is going to actually grab this fuel point and is going to secure himself a little window of double fuel income, which is always hyper valuable for Wehrmacht. That will accelerate the tech, and also of course anytime that you can starve tech out from the British player, you're doing really well, because British and Wehrmacht, they actually tech in quite a similar way, so that's really good. Tommies here find a lovely window to come through for the cut-off, and that is super cool. That is going to be denying fuel and 2 other resources here, so that's really nice. And the Assault Officer going to be taken as the next squad here for Barcode, so the sort of officer unit here going to be able to buff and assist in combat. as I take a sip on my tea.
Our capture point. They're trying to take it.
Brief shout-outs and appreciation, of course, for Sedgehammer and Zank Frapper, who followed whilst I was offline. That's super cool. That's really exciting. I'm hoping that we're going to get someone who's going to follow like in real time, like right now, and then I can see if that notification and alert sort of thing works. So that'll be really cool. Oh, okay. Yeah, so Emma Duranke hoping to see a Vermac Sniper with this build. Definitely we could see it. This is an okay map for it, and it does work really well with Osterman. You've got a lot of dudes to hide behind with that, and it is particularly effective against UKF because on a per skull basis, their troops are worth more, so that Sniper is reaping extra value with every shot and vetting up a little bit faster. So yeah, a Sniper would do okay here. It looks like it's actually going to be a 2-2-2 though, and I don't mind that either. Panzer Grenadiers also coming out onto the roster. This is, of course, infantry. Oh, sorry, no, this is Infantry Company less. Sorry, I actually thought he'd built the Infantry Company, but he hasn't, so that's why we won't be seeing a German marksman coming out here. And to be honest, we do, when people go for the Ostripin Doctrine, we usually see them skip the Infantry Company, so yeah. Going straight to Leith, the Mechanized Company here. Medical Bunker is coming up. Looks like Axis Force is going to be making a play for mid here. Panzer Grenadiers in the church, MG42, going to be garrisoning this position nicely. Alerts still don't work. No, I think they work. Well, we had one alert work already this morning, so that seems cool. The alert which wasn't working before was the follow alert, and I haven't seen any follows come down yet this morning, so as soon as there's a follow coming down, then we'll know if the follow is working or not, and if it's still not working, then I need to go back to the drawing board and start trying to fix that stuff. But rest assured, I am learning up, I am gaining experience, and I'm like trying to adjust this stuff in between streams, so we'll get there, we will get there. 222 here. Going to get the engine broken, but it's still getting good damage in here. Ostripin are providing decent support, and this MG42 actually has a lot of UK units under arc right now. So actually Fire and Terror taking quite a sweet fight here. Light Gammon Bomb there coming down off the air landing officer, gets some decent damage. Wow, the 222 is kind of fearlessly trying to push forwards. I feel like you might want to try and retreat with that one. Royal Engineers are going to pop out the building to throw down another anti-vehicle grenade, which is not going to be enough to destroy this 222, but it's now on death's door. Tommy's coming in from the rear here. Could get in the building and then focus down the 222. I actually think I quite like that. Oh, the Royal Engineers get smashed. They get hooned on. That MG42 with incendiary ammo is doing work. The air landing field officer is next on the chopping block, so he's got to be super careful here. Does anyone know the Panzergren passive? What is the Panzergren passive? Can somebody fill me in on this? Oh, is that this one? The combined arms? If so, jibber jabber jobber, man on the spot here with the information. Minus 10% received accuracy, plus 20% movement speed. That's really interesting. No, the Panzer Grenadiers did not die. They are hanging around in mid here. I don't think they were actually in that fight. I think they were back at base reinforcing. So anyway, if we crack the tack here as the dust settles, we can see that the Axis hardpoint, they were able to defend mid here, but UKF still have decent control, do have a munitions and a fuel point connected. So basically this game is still absolutely at parity. Losing the Royal Engineers was a bitter pill to swallow, so they have been rebought. But this Axis roster is still quite small, so even with the loss of that unit, I feel like these two armies are essentially even in strength. Vickers gun coming onto the field here, basically the missing piece for the UKF player, now has a machine gun to contend with the Axis MG42, going to start limiting the efficiency of those Axis core infantry squads, so that's going to be super valuable here. Sorry, okay, I'm still getting used to keeping half an eye on chat. It's definitely a muscle which I am now developing. It's a skill that needs work. And just like when I started casting, it was quite difficult for me to like manipulate the camera and be able to sort of like basically have a continuous monologue and like speak intelligently. That was a skill I had to develop. It's actually more difficult than people think, I reckon. Like until you actually sit down and turn on something that's recording and then be like, okay, I'm gonna cast an RTS. Like, I think people don't quite realize how much is involved in actually manipulating the camera, keeping track of the game, looking at the mini-map and everything, and trying to talk continuously. And now on top of that, I'm keeping track of chat, but it's really cool. Chat is like the best thing. I never thought I'd enjoy it this much, actually, but having some form of interaction as I'm casting is like, I am loving it. It's super cool to have you guys' comments and thoughts and have access to your knowledge and wisdom as we go along in real time. Like, who'd have thought? 2020 is a hell of a year. Like, what a time to be alive. Like, I know everything's kind of gone to hell at the moment, but I'm still enjoying it. Anyway, mixed fighting going on across the map. The UKF force is just not quite able to access the midline of the map. Most casters also don't talk at 100 miles an hour the whole time. Who's that? Is that me? Do I talk at 100 miles an hour the whole time? Huh. I guess I do talk pretty quickly, actually. Wow, the air landing field officer gets picked down by an STG. Oh, rough stuff here as the Panzer Grenadiers start taking names and kicking ass on the field. That air landing field officer is going to have to be replaced straight away, and when you add that on top of the losses that the UKF player has already sustained thus far, this is a pretty rough spot to be in. I do talk quite quickly and fluently. Oh, why, thank you very much. I appreciate the praise there, A-Game. Yeah, I guess I do. I've often thought throughout my life that I'm very lucky to have had English as my native language, because having learned a couple of other languages for various periods over my life, and then having also taught English to foreign people who it's not their first language, English is it's a bitch of a language. It is stupid. It's actually annoying how inconsistent and badly thought out of a language it is. And I'm lucky because I got that one on the house. That was a freebie. I got that one just by being born in England and having just growing up around that language. So to be able to wield the English language proficiently and enjoy wielding it. Oh, amazing bundle grenade! And Fire and Terror is inflicting fire and terror here upon Barcode. But yeah, as I was just saying, being able to wield the English language with the proficiency with which I've just literally been lucky enough to be able to do so is just a really... It's just great. It's one of the many gifts of my life, I suppose. Where have I put the... Sorry, bear with me. That was all a bit of a tangent. But, my God. This is really sweet. We've got so many people in chat. I'm having to, like, actually sit here and read chat. It's, like, popping up so fast. Cool to see the officer have an impact. Want to like that. The officer is amazing. I love that unit, and the main reason being is this heroic charge. This is the closest thing to a stim button you will get in this game. It literally just stims UKF forces nearby, and as a StarCraft 2 Terran player, I love me a stim button. So yeah, that's really cool.
Damned enemies trying to take a point from us.
And saying you're in place of your... Yeah. English is just a stupid language. Doesn't make any sense. It's my favorite thing when I was telling because I was teaching English in Japan, and sometimes people would ask me, they'd be like, so how come this works differently in this example, or why is there a rule in English except there's so many exceptions? And I would just have to look at my students and go, it's just because English is a made-up language. It's like literally a made-up language. Some people just made it up years ago, and they didn't think about it very hard. Anyway, pyrotechnics package here going to be used to flatten this building in mid. That will prevent the Axis forces from getting the MG in there. Where is the Vickers gun for UKF? Okay, it's actually way up here in north. We normally see the machine gun for the west spawning player like take up position in this building because it's very strong to do so. I mean, yeah, A-Game makes a good point. People who are native English speakers have mistakes that they are so ingrained and they've been making for years that actually, sometimes if you call them on it, you're just like, that's not how the language works, right? They're just like, get out. It is how the language works. Like, this is literally my native language. I'm telling you this is how it works. And I'm just like... But they're not necessarily wrong. And the funny thing about English is it's spoken by so many people and it's taught in so many different ways that English there are multiple versions of English out there in the wild. American English, English, Asian English, they are all completely different. And it is a miracle that any of these people can actually communicate to each other with any degree of effectiveness. Tommy's coming through here, gonna find some actual damage in terms of getting the cutoff here. That is super meaningful amounts of, you can see how many points that's cutting off here. So despite getting off to a rough start, Barcode here is hanging in there, gritting his teeth and just getting the job done with an army that still feels as strong as Fire and Terror's force, to be honest. Like, did I miss some squad wipes on Axis units? I feel like I must have, because this Axis roster is not as big as what I would expect for this time in the game. Checking the tech here briefly, we can see that the support armor core is coming, so that of course means that Battle Phase 2 is done. For the allied player, we have got Company Command Post finished, and the first Cromwell is now on the queue. The money is essentially there for a Panzer IV, so I imagine we're going to have a medium tank showdown as this game goes on. A medium tank showdown on Kolodny Farm. That is about the most Company of Heroes 2, like vanilla Company of Heroes 2 thing that we could possibly have walked in. 14 million viewers. I know. My heart goes out to all of you. Much love and appreciation for tuning in. 14 million. Who'd have thought that I would reach such a wide audience? That is like, what, twice the population of London? Yeah, seems about right. I guess I'm pretty good at this. Ding! I can check lost units in stats. Top left button above minimap.
Our capture point.
Huh.
Trying to take it.
Yeah, I can.
And Beard launchers can now be used
Thanks
by
very
many
much.
units.
It's amazing that I've been casting the game this long and I'm still not fluent with the actual, like, in-game tools for doing that, like, casting. Wow. To be honest, actually, there's a really interesting dynamic between the amount of information that casters have access to and how enjoyable the cast is. I know, for example, it was really controversial how when StarCraft 2 was launched, there was like loads of in-game information for things like workers lost, resources lost, resource differential and stuff like that. And people were actually like, this makes the viewing experience really lame. Like, we actually preferred it in StarCraft 1, where even the casters were in suspense. And I'm not actually sure which side of the fence I fall down on this argument. Certainly it can be more suspenseful and more enjoyable of a viewing experience. The Panzer Grenadiers get picked down there by just UKF forces doing UKF stuff. Cromwell there as well.
Capture point is being
So if I want to select this player's stats, here we go. So we can see now units lost. So he's lost 2 units of Panzer Grenadiers now, and the 222, yeah, so there we go. Okay, yeah, so I did miss the 222. That died somewhere off camera, for which I do apologise. And we're going to have a... We're going to have a Hex Pounder AT gun added into the roster here for the UKF player. So how has this game turned around so hard? Like, Fire and Terror got off to a really nice start, but now if you look in the top right, look at the top left, I just like the UKF army a lot more. Like, it's just doing more stuff. Tommies completely outclass Ostrogon when they have 5-man Strahd upgrades with the med kit or the pyrotechnic package, and then they have weapon racks, so Bren guns are starting to come out now. Oh, god damn, this mouse thing. Panzer IV coming in for a super deep dive here, but the boys from Wales are going to connect the AT grenade, and now it's going to be stricken at about half health in front of a Cromwell, who's still on full health. The Cromwell can just come around and abuse the side or rear armor if he feels like it, but that is not essential. Coming in for a bit of a dive here is risky, because we haven't had a metal detector out here for a hot minute, so there could have been a telemine here or there. That was a little bit risky there. Panzer IV is actually trading out pretty well here. And is that another anti-vehicle grenade? No, is that a Piat? He's actually got Piats on these Royal Engineers who are coming in turbo deep. Stim comes down off of the air landing field officer, and this ought to be a dead Panzer IV as soon as the Piat connects, but he's actually gotten so close, he's getting pushed around by it now. And now the boys from Wales are in jeopardy. That will be a squad wipe. Wow, I think we got a bit greedy there. I know a Panzer IV is a beautiful prize to go for, but trying just a bit too hard there as Barcode, and does get punished for it. So if we crack the tack here, we can see there's going to be a moment of quiet as both of these two players have to repair their units, reinforce, and stuff like that. Typical Piat performance, yeah bro, you know it. I don't know, man. Piats are a much maligned weapon in this game, because in the state that the game launched, they were borderline unusable. Very fun in some ways, but borderline unusable. And they have been buffed a lot, but they are still... I mean, they ain't even Zooks, and Zooks ain't even Panzerschrecks, so they're like low down on the sort of tier list of anti-vehicle infantry weaponry. But they are pretty much better than they've ever been. Just like in real life, Piats suck. Some design issues with that British hardware, yes. Absolutely, that's fair to say. Not the most successful World War II tank hunting equipment. Ooh, creative name with the controversial opinion. Zooks are better than Shreks. Change my mind. Oh, it depends if we're talking about Zooks on Rangers or Paratroopers, because those Zooks actually probably are better than Shreks. And yeah, I mean, part of the argument with Zooks is that you can put them on rear ash, which with Shreks you just can't put them on Pioneers. How good would that be? Jeez, imagine that. Alright, so this Panzer IV now, up to a star of veterancy, has been repaired. Fire and Terror is actually holding on to a munitions and a fuel point, and is about to have 2 VP control, which will be nice because Fire and Terror here is trailing at 345, under 467. Extra style points if Fire goes for a sniper now? Yeah, that would be extra style points. I'm not sure how viable a sniper is when your opponent already has a Cromwell, and the Tommies all have Bren guns and stuff. That's going to be tough. But, you know, it could be doable. He's not going to build a sniper, let's be real. To be honest, if I like a sniper for anyone here, I like it for Barcode, because the UKF sniper can like stun and contribute to defeating a Panzer IV, but even then I don't think it's very optimal. Is this a Pack 43? Yeah, we got a Pack 43 here. Okay. Somebody has to convince me that the Pack 43 is good. I don't like the Pack 43 at the moment in the game. He's also not set its prioritized vehicles, so it's going to reveal itself on these Tommies, which is a touch awkward. But yeah, I don't like where the Pack 43 is in the game at the moment. Like, it's a cool unit, don't get me wrong. It's showy, it's flashy, it's fun, but I actually don't think it delivers value because it's so easy to take out. Like, any infantry unit getting close to it basically will destroy it. Certainly anything that has, like, well, not destroy it, but severely fluster it. Telemines in this position actually could be relevant as the Cromwell's circling. The Pack gun gets the Cromwell. Okay, alright, the Pack 43 looking good, I will admit, right now, just within the space of the last 20 seconds, which is awkward since I just said that I'm not convinced about these units. But they are quite expensive, and they do die to almost any commander-based call-in. Yeah, instant payoff, yeah. They die to almost any, like incendiary artillery, any artillery basically. They're kind of dead. They have a really hard time if your opponent has a mortar tube because they can be smoked, and they can obviously just be barraged for damage. They have a really hard time against conscripts with Molotovs, or pretty much anybody with gammon bombs or pineapples. And they are quite expensive, so I don't know necessarily that I particularly am in love with them. But, you know, I'm open to having my mind changed. Yeah, some pretty valid points being made about Zooks and the way that they're used. For sure, I think if Axis troops could upgrade a weapons rack, if you would sacrifice Panzerschreck upgrades for having a weapons rack with Zooks in your base, you'd probably do it. That's a mortar pit, just so we know, just so we're all clear about that. That's a mortar pit. Interesting. This the rarely seen mortar pit. Another sort of defensive structure which I just don't really like at the moment in the game. These Tommies need to GTFO. This is way too many angry Germans, and they will. Nicely done. Yeah, I don't really like the mortar pit. It's an okay structure, and I think it's probably going to do okay in this game because this is a decent position, and it's behind a Vickers gun, and it can be well supported, and that's just a decent position. Is it in range of the Pack? That's the crucial bit. It is not in range of the Pack. Okay. But I think the mortar pit is. Oh wow! He just nuked a squad of Tommies with like one shot from the Panzer IV. Yikes! That was like 5 dudes. What? Well, that's pretty good. Panzer IV's just doing Panzer IV things, apparently. Jesus. Build a second Pack 43 to destroy the mortar pit. I like it. I like the way you're thinking, creative name. That's some spice right there. Can we please like get the Pack 43 to be used as a base sieging unit? Go for the victory by building Annihilation, by building a Pack 43 in range of your opponent's base. I would like to see that. Anyway, Panzer IV is coming in here to try and find some value. Tommy's sort of in the hood, but there's really nothing that can threaten this thing. Now with the Cromwell gone, there's just the Hex Pounder AT gun out here, which is kind of just donking shots into intervening terrain here. Might get one more shot, and does. There we go. Probably we need another Hex Pounder. Actually, you know what? The fuel is here for the British player. I would actually quite like a Firefly. Let's just stop beating around the bush and buy the Firefly, man. I think that's going to be pretty good. Also, we haven't taken a commander pick, so we could totally go for Mobile Assault Regiment and get the Land Mattress to help counter that Pack gun. I think that would be quite a smart choice as well. So options are here for the UKF player to try and recover in this game, but for sure they are the underdog right now. Hey, can I tell you guys something? Because we found this out yesterday, actually. It was on the stream. So let's just quickly look at these. Okay, so yeah, gain veterancy, 7% increase range, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. So of all these little bulletins, we found one yesterday that I think, if it's correctly typed up, if the tooltip is correct, and I'm skeptical because it was so powerful, but there's one which actually just means that your Pack guns build 50% faster, or your Zis guns if you're playing as Soviets. Like, isn't that really good? I assume that building 50% faster means that they build in half the time, because that's how things work. So That's really good. Double Hex Pounder here, finding a stricken Panzer IV in arc, and they will get the kill. Absolutely what was needed. I didn't realize Hammer Tech is done, and of course it's going to be the Comet. That actually is substantially better than the Firefly, so great. The UKF player, it turns out, actually knows UKF teching a little bit better than me and is making the smarter choices, so that makes a ton of sense. Yeah, and it also works for the Pack 43. Yeah, crazy. That's, like, insane. Like, can we just think about how powerful that bulletin is? Because so many times we see players die because they can't get AT resources out fast enough. And if you can literally halve the build time of your anti-tank guns, that's so big. So I've immediately put that on all of my commanders. Well, on my Soviet and my Wehrmacht roster anyway. Okay, wicked. We're going to have a Panther versus Comet showdown in our first game of the day. Loving it. Loving it. This is going to be awesome. So yeah, this mortar pit is now up to 2 stars of veterancy. Only 3 kills on there, but that's pretty sweet all the same. Being repaired right now by the Royal Engineers. But the Axis field control is actually getting a little bit out of hand here. Going to be establishing the triple cap in a second. And this is likely to be a game because it's been relatively even. Each player has had the upper hand through approximately equal phases of play so far, I would say. And so the scoreline is basically even, as we might expect. The resource differential has been about even this game. So there's a pretty realistic proposition that this game is not going to be ended on the back of one big battle, but instead it's going to come down to the victory points. And with that being, at the moment, quite a likely outcome, I think it's worrisome for the UKF player to be falling behind under a triple cap right now. And also, to be honest, I don't know, we're kind of lacking for frontline infantry though, aren't we? That's the problem. But still, the UKF player needs to secure at least 1 victory point. So here we go. Boys from Wales going to get up on top of this one here, and that will be really worthwhile. The Comet is here, and the Panther is also. So, place your bets now, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you what, let's see if we can do this. Hang on, just bear with me, bear with me. Okay, we're doing a poll. Okay, alright. Alright guys, there we go. We've got a poll going. We've got a poll going. You can see it up in the top right of the screen, just above me. Vote 1 if you think that the Panther is going to win this battle. Vote 2 if you think that the Comet is going to win this battle. Let me know your thoughts. There we go. We're practicing doing streaming stuff. We did a poll in real time. So you can type !vote 1 for the Panther or !vote 2 for the Comet. There we go. And those results are happening in real time. So we'll leave that poll running a little bit, see what everybody thinks is going to happen. That's really cool. Look at me, I did a poll. Hooray. I hope I didn't actually miss any significant gameplay moments because I was messing around doing stream stuff. Yes, awesome. People are voting. Sweet. Thank you very much for your thoughts, everybody. The Comet is pretty damn strong. I will be amazed if the Panther wins this poll. In fact, do I get a vote? Do I get a vote? I think I get a vote, right? There we go. I get a vote. Sweet. Alright. Now you have to say, one of the things that's going to make this Comet's life a lot harder is the presence of the Pack 43, which, okay, it just got wasted. Gets taken out by the British 25-pounders in the base. I believe that's a pyrotechnics package barrage just coming down there. Barcode still hasn't actually picked a commander, and we don't need to get the land mattress now, although I maintain that it's still nice. Bundle grenade comes through here, fall down coming down just in the nick of time, so Barcode is paying attention. 2 hex pounders here going to swivel to try to acquire the Panther, but it's just going to lurk out of sight for now. The Comet is in the hood, emergency war speed is being applied to it, so it'll have access to that, which, to be honest, given that the Panther is not Vet 1 yet, that is actually a real advantage for the Comet to have. There are telemines about the place here. Telemines lurking there. Still, oops, there are still telemines lurking here. As the Panther and some Panzer Grenadiers going to police infantry out of the south of the map here. Yeah, there are telemines out here. And where's the metal detector? Yeah, so there is a metal detector. But still, that Comet has to be careful. Can't be ranging around in fog of war without actually, without too many cares in the world. Yeah, I do call them a hex pounder. Because I used to call them a quarter pounder just because if you look at the name of the gun, it has QF. And for some reason, when my brain sees a Q before the number 6, I just immediately assume it's a quarter pounder. I don't know how that works. Or maybe it's a Q before the word pounder. Yeah, that's got to be it. So for the longest time, I called them the quarter pounder until it actually started annoying me because it made so little sense. And so then I was like, okay, well, I can't call it a QF 6 pounder. So for some reason, the next most logical thing that my brain came up with is a hex pounder. But everyone knows what I mean, right? That's not technically wrong. It is hex pounding things down, right? 6 is... So I'm rolling with it for now. We'll see. Let's take a look at this poll here. What do people think? Okay, so it's like 2-1 that people think that the Panther is going to win this one. Well, since the 2 tanks are still alive, I'm going to leave this poll open. Once again, you guys can vote. It's !vote 1 for Panther, !vote 2 for Comet. Yay, I did a poll! Haha! Sorry, it's pretty exciting for me. This is like literally the first poll I've ever done on the channel, so that wasn't a test. So, I mean, yeah, so this is pretty cool. Another Vickers gun going to be added into the roster here for Barcode, and that does make a ton of sense. This game is likely to come down to controlling victory points, and machine guns are one of the best ways of doing that in the game. So that's really smart. This mortar pit has actually kind of been paying dividends. It has been very difficult for Fire and Terror to get to grips with, and we kind of have a little bit of a Cold War here. Both players just kind of establishing a front line. Nobody wants to commit. Nobody wants to engage into their opponent, and you can kind of see why. You know, it's difficult to engage into an opponent who you know has lots of AT guns and a nice killy tank. But it will be Barcode who's going to have to make a move if this just keeps going on, because it's UKF who are bleeding out here. Man, I would love to see him take a land mattress. Make this game the Axis player's problem. We're kind of already doing that a little bit. What does QF actually stand for? Quick fire. That's really interesting to know. Anti-Morale there with the sick knowledge. Thank you very much. QF. It's a quick fire 6 pounder. Very interesting. So yeah, we've still got this standoff going here. The mortar pit just finding value. There was another Pack 43 built here, and it's just kind of getting shelled down. The mortar is at 3 stars a vet, so it fires fast, and it is accurate. And it's just gonna... This is why I don't like Pack 43s. They die really easily. I think that they need some sort of a change, to be honest. The Pack 43 needs some sort of buff or change. You can keep an eye on this icon here, but we're probably going to see that Pack 43 disappear off the roster, as finally fighting begins in earnest here, as both of the sort of heavy-medium tanks are going to get stuck in. Anti-vehicle grenades connecting onto the Panther, but it had too much health, so that's absolutely fine. The boys from Wales getting wasted. Pyrotechnics package barrage comes down, and all 4 UKF frontline squads have to fall back, so potentially there's going to be an opening here for the Axis player. He's going to sneak forwards to reclaim mid. And this is some kind of sector artillery is going to be used at this timing. So this is 200 munitions, very expensive ability, but it will rain down some fire. I think awkwardly enough, none of the UKF units are actually in an Axis-held sector. Now that this is Axis-held, okay, I guess because he captured this after the artillery ability was used, it's actually not going to stretch out to reach out and touch these units up here. So that kind of sucks. Does that imply that there's a slow fire version out there? Well, I assume that the previous version was just found to be too slow firing, so the QF 6 pounder was, I assume, developed to address that weakness. So if we got double GR34 here, has been implemented into the roster as a way to try and counter this presently braced mortar pit. Interesting. I mean, I can't say I don't like it. One of these GR34s probably needs to fall back because it's just getting attritioned down here. Is that another Pack 43? It's this old Pack 43 is still alive. Jeez. Look at the range on that thing. I'm still not saying it's good, but it is powerful. Like, if the Pack 43 is firing at stuff, it's good. It's just that most of the time it just kind of gets beaten up by other things. Okay, Jibber Jabber Jobber with a very interesting point that, yeah, with the double build time, which this Axis player does not have, but you can quickly build them and then salvage them down after you've picked off a tank, so I like that way of using pack guns. But anyway, we've got a bit of an interesting fight here. As the Panther comes in deep, UKF forces trying to get something done, and they will decap mid, so that stops the clock at 215 for Barcode. This Panther is just in an awkward position. The mortar pit finally gets attritioned down here by the GR34s, and I honestly think Barcode should... Oh, hang on, Barcode's gone ahead and picked a commando. It's going to be Commando Regiment. I believe a glider just... No? Okay, sorry, no glider. We're going up to double Comet? Ooh. That is... Double Comet here is going to be really rough. I would love for the Axis player just to sneak one unit of infantry, like maybe some Pioneers or something just up here, or Panzergrens, just one unit, just grab the VP, because I think pressuring the VPs obviously is what this game's going to be all about. The pack gun does get taken out in that, but it can be recrewed, so it looks like Ostrobin going to step up to the mark and do that job. Where are all the British munitions going? Bren guns, Piets, probably tank commanders. What has he just used? Oh, is that the scouting ability? Yeah, so you can pay 50 munitions from the air landing field officer for a recon sweep, so we just saw that used. So the British munitions are going places. I admit, though, we're not seeing the most impact. We've seen quite a few gammon bombs over this game as well, like at least a couple. So yeah, probably to those places, I would say. All right, back to the Cold War. Wow, what an interesting first game to have caught here. I'm really glad we jumped in to cast this one. We've gotten a Comet versus Panther. Now it's double Comet versus Panther, though. So is this the change in dynamic? Is this the alteration of the balance of power, which is going to enable Barcode to shatter this position and finally take map dominance? We're going to see. I really like the way that Barcode has re-bolstered their frontline infantry up now to 3 squads of Tommies, having rebought one recently, with the air landing field officer and the boys from Wales, the Royal Engineers. That is actually a decent amount of pushing infantry, which is a credible, has credible ability to get out on the map and actually take and hold points, and that is actually going to be one of the most important things here. Tommy's going to be creeping forwards. This could well be for a gammon bomb, and it will be. Gammon bomb in. Oh no, it's a pyrotechnics package. Even better. That's a Stug E. Great, so a Stug E, that's actually a super smart idea. MG42 gets killed here, and this unit of Tommies, which are 3-star vet, will also be killed, surely. You can't get out. There's no escape. Yep, okay. The Pack 43 does get defeated by the Pyrotechnics 25-pounder barrage. So when the dust settles, that was the trade of a Pack 43 and an MG42 for a unit of Tommies. So I feel like that has to favour the British player, who still comes out of this with 2 Comets to the 1 Panther. This is the most standoffish thing I've ever seen, but these mortar tubes are a real problem now. Yeah, dropping commandos in the back line might be cool. That's an interesting suggestion. But these mortar tubes are actually unopposed now, without the mortar pit for the UKF forces. Whoa, this Comet just sort of feeding in. The Pack 43 is ready. The Panther is here as well. Oh, he gets tagged by a Faust off of those Ostropons, so now this Comet is a little bit stricken. One of the Hex Pounder guns has the Panther in arc, the other does not, and it is not turning. So this Comet is now stricken. Where's the other Comet? Oh god, it's miles away in north. So the Panther can actually just pick up this Comet and get out, right? Where are the engineers? There's no anti-vehicle snares here. Okay, no, it will be a trade. That Comet, that Panther's way too low. Oh my god, he actually doesn't get the Comet. I thought for sure he was going to get that Comet. Okay, well that's devastating, and now I feel like Fire and Terror is actually in a really difficult place. But the UKF infantry is getting beaten up, and these mortars are just making life hell. Combined with the Stug E, this is a lot of like just random explosions and attrition-based damage that's coming through. God damn, we got a lovely close game here for our first one of the day. This is what we signed up for. Alright, we're going to close the poll because now we know who won. The Comet won. So, it was 5 votes for Panther, 2 votes for Comet. And, turns out that the Comet won, although it was a little unfair, seeing as how in the end it was like double Comet. But there we have it. Who'd have thought? Comet beats Panther. Alright. So now the Comet's going to come in. He wants to finish off the Pack 43. Storm Pioneers, we're about to man it, but it gets denied just before they can do so. And now there's actually a real problem. There's like no AT here. Oh, he's going to rebuild another Pack 43 back here. Can somebody tell me what the cost of a Pack 43 is? I'm really interesting. A-Game says that he doesn't get the Panther play. I'm with you, buddy. There was no need to take a dive there. That seems really ill-advised. I think he thought he could get the Comet and then just forgot everything else and just kind of got zoomed in on getting that Comet. But at the cost of a Panther, it's not worth it. That Panther was the only thing holding off, like, pretty much all this horrible UKF stuff. Destroys the fuel point here. That's quite nice. He's going to actually scout this Pack 43 that's building, so that's pretty rough. Rolling a miss on the first shot, you probably want to... Oh, it's going to force a cancel, yeah. So... I can look up the cost of the Pack 43, but I don't think I can, right? Because it doesn't let me access that screen on the Pioneers. Like, right? I can access structures and I can access defensive structures. But I don't think it lets me open the bunkers tab. Like, I don't know. I'm so bad at casting. If you know a way to access that cost, though, I would be really glad for it. So, okay, Fire and Terror here actually has enough resources to get a Panther in. Yeah, A-game, you're quite right. If the Killer Instinct was here for the UKF player, then he could drive in. So one thing that's stopping him just driving in is lack of metal detector. That's really crucial. You don't want to just throw away your comments. Like, telemines are horrendous. Like, they just rinse vehicles terribly. So yeah, mines are a real concern. And also, yeah, just caution. It's super easy to throw away a leading company of heroes. We've seen it time and time again. Or just even throw away units, even if you're not leading. So it is just caution, but I do admit that if the Killer Instinct was a little bit better developed for Barcode, we could see a little bit more pressure being put on, and I think he's figuring that out. We are seeing these UKF heavy hitters like creep forwards, and there's no answer coming from the Axis line, and the longer this goes on, the more we're going to see the UKF player take advantage. However, the second Panther is out, and that's coming out now to try and help in this fight. Shreks have come down on these Panzer Grenadiers, so they're going to be able to contribute a lot of DPS if they get good shots onto these Comets. And I would love to see just a regular pack gun. I know the Pack 43 is flashy and cool, but let's just get some regular pack guns going. Like, they're really good, they're affordable, you can move them. I think that that's kind of like the way to go. Yeah, Emma Duranke making a good point about fatigue becoming a real thing. RTS is hard to play, and you're doing like potentially tens of things like every couple of seconds, and fatigue's a real thing. Players at the top end of the game like this will be better at dealing with it. It's like all things. The more you do it, the better you get. It's like muscles. But even so, we've been going for nearly 40 minutes now, and just little bits of lack of attention here and there are game-changing in Company of Heroes 2. To be fair, I think Company of Heroes 2 has captured that aspect of World War II on a small scale between you and your opponent. It is a battle of wills. It is a battle of attrition. When it goes to the super late game like this, it can often just feel like it's who wants it more. Almost more so than any other RTS, I feel about that way about Company of Heroes 2, because it's so grindy and so many things need your attention everywhere, and you have to be constantly vigilant, because one grenade in the wrong place, one set of mines, one problem with hitting your tank, and it changes the course of the game. You have to be so vigilant for so long, and yeah, it does feel like fighting a war. Okay, another Pack 43 going to come down in this position here. The Panther is going to be getting repaired. Both of the Comets need a bit of love as well. There's only one Royal Engineer squad right now, and they're not actually on the field, so I really think Barcode could use a second Royal Engineer squad just to start repairing these guys a little bit faster. We've got the manpower. In fact, to be honest, we've got the money for anything we want, really. We don't have the unit cap, I suppose. Also, I don't know, let me know your thoughts, but I feel like still the land mattress would have been good. I just feel like when you play as UKF, it's like an underutilized option to just make the game the Axis player's problem. Just be like, okay, I'm over here and your stuff's all exploding, so like, your move kind of thing, and force them to engage into you, because Vermax are super uncomfortable, or often have difficulty responding to that kind of pressure. And land mattresses are actually not that expensive. And how much utility have we seen out of this commander? I don't feel like we've seen anything super game-changing, although I could have missed... I mean, it's very possible that there's a lot happened in this game, and I am not a perfect caster. So I could have missed important things happening from this commander. But I don't feel like I've noticed anything, so I don't know. I kind of feel like the land mattress would have been a good one. Yeah, it does die in 2 tank shots, but you just make sure the tanks don't... I mean, you can just hide them behind this building, and then it's like quite difficult for your opponent to get tanks onto them. Just my thoughts. I often see things in terms of making your opponent's units explode, so I get a bit zoned in on that sometimes. Anyway, Stug E here, nicely supported by the Panther tank, going to be applying pressure to this UKF infantry. The double cap does get established, though, for Barcode, so it'll be 250 8 tickets here and ticking for Fire and Terror, who still has about a 100 ticket lead here, as we get into the really grindy, very much late game of this game. Let's crack the tack here, and we can see this has been the dynamic for at least the last 15 minutes. The Axis player has been dug in a hard point here, trying to control 2 of the VPs, while the UKF player basically has a sort of symmetrical hard point here, trying to apply pressure. I actually think it might be a decent idea, and I hate recommending a mortar pit, but I actually think this is a reasonable spot to rebuy that mortar pit. That mortar pit was getting value, although I suppose you know your opponent already has the 2 GR34, so it's actually quite hard to recommend a mortar pit when they already have the GR34s. Yeah, okay, I take that back. With the 2 GR34s in mind, you can't really buy another mortar pit in good conscience. Everybody, you gotta love cracking the tack. That's vintage Magpie terminology, vocabulary, lexicon, verbiology, other words. So, okay, who's winning this game? Help me out. I thought the UKF player was winning, but they're kind of getting bled out, and they're not closing it. Okay, so here comes a air supremacy operation, 250 munitions. So there is a lot of wrath coming down upon this pack gun, I believe, but without oh god! I forgot air supremacy operation. Oh god! How do those Ostripens survive? Yeah, air supremacy operation, probably the most heavy artillery call-in in the game, like in terms of the amount of actual death that you get to rain down. I totally forgot that that was part of this commander. Well, now this commander delivers some value. Yikes. So yeah, that was air supremacy operation. Back in the day, that would one-shot any deployed OKW truck, and so it made life hell for OKW players. I have a particular sort of hatred reserved for the air supremacy operation as a sort of prolific OKW abuser myself. So anyway, yeah, so there we go. That'll be the air supremacy operation. So the double cap is established. Barcode gets off the clock. Fire and Terror is now on the clock. But this is a slow bleed here. 46 minutes. And I don't know. I'm struggling to recommend. I feel like the 2 comets are perfect. And we're at unit cap. So I feel like this army is as good as it's ever going to be for the UKF player. Is there a way that we can establish a triple cap and just try and end this? The Comet's going to come down here to try and shove the MG42 out of this hard point. And then, I don't know, I feel like we need to try pivoting ever so slightly for the UKF player, because I actually feel like the Wehrmacht player is at the moment at parity, but has the most room to grow, and we're going up to double Panther. And then, I don't know. Is the Wehrmacht player ahead with double Panther? This is quite a difficult game to assess, if I'm honest, because there's so many things happening so quickly and so much force for both players being exchanged. Anyway, the Panther's going to engage into the Comet here. There is a Hex Pounder in support, so the Panther gets hastily beaten down and is going to have to sneak away on that. The Comet could, if it wants, finish off that hard point, but we're going to be up to double Panther here in just a second. Comets are really high pop cap, yeah. Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but I will go and tell you that a Comet is 18 pop cap. So yeah. And for comparison, just so you know, a Panther, and these are useful numbers for me to refresh myself with, a Panther is also 18. So there we go. They are basically equivalent. I mean, then they are pretty much equivalent in the way that they operate as well. To be honest, for 18 cap, I think the Comet is better than a Panther, so that's pretty nice. It's going to be, what is this? This is the recon flight from the air landing field officer, or the assault officer, sorry, which probably is, every time that comes over, is going to give Fire and Terror a heart attack, giving them flashbacks of the air supremacy operation, making them think, oh my god, they're coming again! So there's probably some shock value in sending these recon planes over, because remember, the air supremacy operation also begins with a recon plane. But we got a massive fight being taken in mid here. Double Panther going to roll in. The White Foss shell comes down off the Comet, but not much value there. And this one Comet is getting double teamed here, gets his second star of veterancy, but this Panther is still in position to be taking shots. The engine gets broken by the boys from Wales as the Stug E desperately trying to cover the Panther against those Welsh boys. But this Panther is going to come in for a dive, gets past the AT guns, finds the weakened Comet, gets... It's not destroyed, it needs one more hit. The armored skirts are going to finish on the Panther in the middle of this fight, so that Panther just got an armor buff. And the Hex Pounder's frantically repositioning. The healthy Comet going to cycle in here to try and protect its sister. And that has to be... Is he going to... Does he have Blitz available? He does have Blitz. Blitz comes down. He's going to try and do a drive-by and get this Comet. The turret rotate speed betrays him. There we go. He gets it. And now he can get out with the Panther. That was a really nice operation. He's going to get out with the Panther. There are no mines. I'm impressed. Fire and Terror putting together a really nice operation. But the money is just there. So Barcode can insta-rebuy the second Comet. This Comet is going to pursue into potentially Telemines now. Okay, thinks better of it. And that is good. Okay, so throughout that, the double cap was maintained by Barcode. He had the money for another Comet, and indeed another Comet. So Barcode, not poor, has not. The bank is not broken right now. Yeah, Datton pointing out in chat. Definitely, the Brits have a buffer for losses for sure. Can't replace like too many more Comets, but like that is such a weird thing to say. Vickers gun gets picked down here, and that is a shame. These GR34s have been performing well. The veterancy is misleading because they've been recrewed a couple of times, but yeah, they've been performing well. And the machine gun in the bunker combined with the Stug E makes life hell for UK forces that are trying to do anything about this victory point. So that's quite a nice combo there. Yeah, who needs repairs when you can just build more, right? Soviet tactics. Okay, and now Wehrmacht are gonna secure the middle VP. So this is the smoke raid operation that's coming down. That's why we're seeing copious quantities of smoke blanket the battlefield. For the record, that is 60 munitions. Barrage is the area of smoke, and then infantry capture territory more quickly. So that was the plan there. That probably was slightly mistimed, although he is getting some benefit with these Tommies here. The Stug E is going to reposition to deal with these Tommies. And that it will start doing. 3 stars of veterancy comes down on the Stug E, giving it improved mobility and rate of fire. Oh my god, look how... I like this Stug E. This has been pretty cool. It just makes life so hard for the... Did he cancel the Comet? Did he cancel the Comet? I think he cancelled the Comet. To build a mortar pit? I don't know what I'm seeing. I feel like the Comet was a real good choice. But, okay. Huh. That's really confusing. Alright, fair enough. Finally, some Ostropon are going to connect with what has historically been a British-held victory point up here. Now, there is a Vickers gun to cover them, so... Actually, you know what? They have an LMG-42, and this Vickers gun is in negative cover. Okay, yeah, they're not going to be able to take it down. If they had a rifle grenade, if these were grenadiers, maybe. One of the GR-34 is getting taken out there, we just heard, so it just probably got attritioned down by some kind of... possibly even the UKF mortar pit there. Third Panther? What? I don't even know what to think anymore. So this is the 4th Panther that's been built this game, am I right? And like... Is he building double mortar pit? I don't even know. Alright, so Barcode here is making the conscious decision that mortar pits are better to have in the army than Comets. I don't know what I think about that. It doesn't sound good. But how about this for a left field take, okay? If you don't have any good tanks, then your opponent's Panthers are quite bad, right? I mean... I don't know. That's what I'm trying to... That's a silver lining. That is the silver lining I'm trying to present here. Anyway, the Panthers are going to come in here. This Comet a little bit flustered, has to rotate. The Hex Pounders, one of them goes down immediately. The other one caught out, and Fire and Terror actually starting to put together some nice moves here. He can probably pick off this Comet here. That's a 3-star Comet. That would be nice to get. Putting the 2-star Panther at the front is nice because that's the most durable one. This Panther's going to come through here. The engine braking grenade comes down off of the boys from Wales down there. What is this? Oh, that was the grenade from the Comet. Not enough, though, and the Comet will get taken out. Now, the mortar pits are taking a gruesome toll on all of this Axis stuff, and there's a lot of squads on pixels of health here, so there's definitely value to be gained out here for the UKF player. But now these Panthers can smash down the mortar pits. A Comet gets rebought, and like, yeah, it turns out Comets are good. I think maybe you should have bought one of those instead of the mortar pit, and then we could have had 2 Comets against 2 Panthers. That might have been a better position. And now look, there's a 3rd Panther coming into the fight. Oh my god, this is like gruesome amounts of Panther. I love Panther tanks, and so this is like a horrendous sight. Is he going to be able to pick up this horrendously wounded Panther, or is this just Axis perfection that we're going to see here? The Stug E could definitely stand. If it came forward, it would definitely be providing a lot of value by just shelling into all of these British squads here. The wounded Panther is going to limp away. The 2-star Panther with the broken engine coming in deep wants the second mortar pit. Royal Engineers here with Piats are going to come in to try and screen that one away, and you have to respect the guys with Piats. They will mess you up. 3 stars of veterancy coming down onto that Panther is really scary. The Stug E does get microed in, and just look how fast it fires. That's disgusting. That's just horrendous. It's doing so much damage. It takes out the Vickers, and I actually think Fire and Terror has done it. He's going to take a battle victory here. He loses one of the Panthers, but that's okay. We've got 2 more. And that was actually the 3-star Panther though, so a bit of a shame. But hey, you know, you can't always choose these things. Comet is here though, going to join the battle, coming in here. And we'll see. Looks like the Panther wants to try and stay and fight for a bit. The Stug E is not really going to be able to contribute in this fight. Wow, what an explosive last phase of play this has been. Tons of value being traded for both players. Yeah, Panzergrens were picked off during that fight as well. I think one of the MGs as well. So as we come up to the 55-minute mark in this epic showdown between 2 seemingly very well-matched players here. Panther's going to come through and destroy the mortar pit, I think, but the Comet's still picking it down, so he has to be careful. Anti-vehicle grenade will break the engine, so now the Comet can stalk. The other Panther still being repaired, not quite ready to come back in yet, but may be able to come in time to help out. Another Stug E is the pick here, so increasing amounts of explosive death being hurled into the UKF ranks here. As the Comet continues its march, he has to look out for the Faust. Ugh, he gets donked by the Faust. So that Comet just cannot fight now. It's on no health and it has no engine. So, to be honest, this Panther that's now repaired could just come in and take a dive onto that Comet. And that might be checkmate, because Barcode actually does not have the manpower right now. Also, Barcode down at 63 tickets under 173. This one's been so hard fought. He doesn't want to leave the game. He doesn't want to just GG and let this have happened. You know, there's pride on the line. This is 55 minutes of blood, sweat, and tears that neither of these players wants to give up. Panther finally does get picked off by the Piat-toting Royal Engineers, and the repaired Panther, now the only Panther standing, comes on in hunting for the Comet, which is in the UKF base. So that ought to be a relatively straightforward kill there for the Panther. Yeah, he's just going to pick that off. And he's not even going to get tagged by an anti-vehicle grenade there, so that is a bit rough. UKF forces get out from under the clock though, and that's important. The 3-star Stug has its gun broken and is being hunted by these Piat-toting Royal Engineers who are finding a lot of value. And now, so this Panther gets out safely, but the Panther is actually not that great when your opponent has no vehicles. It's just an okay tank, but its anti-infantry DPS is less than a Panzer IV, certainly less than a Stug E. So if there are no vehicles on the field, the Panther is just okay. Like, it's good. It's hard to kill. It does some damage, but it's not the killiest thing. It's not the best unit against infantry squads. So does the UKF player have the tools they need to hang on for long enough to get enough manpower to buy another vehicle and try and stabilize here? You know, there are actually UKF units breaking through. He gets the cut-off. These Royal Engineers are punching way above their weight. Is he going to get the wounded Stug E? No chance with Tommies. So I believe the wounded Stug E will creep away here. Might pick up an MG42. Yep, gets the MG42 kill. And the air landing field officer coming through here as well. The Panther comes in to try and just add some DPS here. Gammon Bomb comes down, not achieving too much damage. 150 tickets and counting for all of this, for Fire and Terror. Crush actually running over a couple of Tommies there. Sorry, there's been so much happening. I have not kept the best eye on chat, to be honest. Elner009, what's up, buddy? Thanks very much for tuning in today. Good to have you aboard. Welcome to the Mag House. And this Panther is kind of cleaning up Tommies now on the retreat path as well. 2 stars of veterancy, which is the most important for the Panther, has kind of been done. Well, actually 1 star is also really good because Blitz is amazing, but 2 stars super relevant. That Panther now has the armored skirts. Both players having to fall back like a lot of their units, but for how good the last sort of 15 minutes has looked for the Wehrmacht forces, it is UKF who come out of this with field control, and that actually is all that matters. So I'm not saying it's problems yet for Fire and Terror, but we're on 135, and we have to get the map back. Oh my god, this Stuggy has been repaired, and it's just killing squads. Oh no, I feel like these units were just forgotten about. The Panther will be able to run them down. So that's a 3-star squad of Piat-equipped Royal Engineers who have been heroes this game. A moment's silence for the Royal Engineers. They did good work. That is a bitter loss there for Barcode. So Barcode's up to 430 manpower. We could take pretty much any choice we wanted. So what's it going to be? As Axis forces do get up on top of mid. A Vickers gun is deployed though. It's getting massacred, but it does start shooting. Oh god. It does start shooting. The MG42 has to focus that down, but it's actually working on the Tommies who are trying to contest mid. The 3-star Stug E is just the kingmaker in this battle though. Look at the rate of fire. It's so brutal. A Firefly is going to be the choice. Let me know your thoughts in chat. Is that going to be better than a Comet? The trouble with the Firefly, right, is it's more vulnerable. Its turret traverse speed is slower. I appreciate that it's the better anti-tank unit as the Stug E is going to rip up another... Oh my god, these Stug E's are just hoovering up. Yeah, so the Firefly is more vulnerable, and at the moment there's no real support, so I feel like the Panther can just beat a Firefly, really, because you just blitz in, get up to the side of it, and the turret traverse speed is not very good on a Firefly. It is a tank hunter. So Emma Duranke does agree with the Firefly.
Enemy threatening a capture point.
Okay, changes his mind quickly. Yeah, the trouble is Fireflies are really great, but with support, and unfortunately all the support has just died. So I'm not sure that I agree with this Firefly. We also don't have the most munitions, if we were thinking that Tulips was like the reason for doing this. So, I am a little bit skeptical of this Firefly, which I feel like I never say. I'm normally the biggest fan of pretty much any tank hunter, but this particular one, when we could have bought a Comet, I don't know. Goodness me, what this Barcode would do. If you could convert 100 fuel into 200 manpower, I think the UKF player would be clicking that button. So anyway, the Tulips are finished, and the Tank Commander as well, so this Firefly is out here.
We've got 50 points left.
That was very quick. Yeah, so, yeah, does need to babysit this Firefly, for sure. 126 right now for Fire and Terror, 41 for Barcode, who's bleeding out at 2 per tick, so UK forces desperately need to get on top of these victory points. The Assault Field Officer has been forgotten about, it seems. He's just kind of getting ripped to pieces, getting absolutely hooned upon by many Axis units. Very angry Germans doing their stuff here. The Firefly announcing its presence, getting a decent hit onto the... Whoa! We're coming in very close with this Firefly. This is risky. Careful, man. That's a Panther with Blitz. But it looks like the Panther, for now, opting to respect the British tank hunter rather than take a dive.
Army commandos ready to go.
And that's a Commando glider insertion that's going to be flying into the battlefield. And Commandos are quite good, and this Axis infantry is really spearheaded by 1 unit of Panzer Grenadiers and 2 units of Ostrupant, which if the Commandos can find an angle to get in on top of everything, they could just start killing stuff. And we've seen many times in this game, wiping core infantry is a way to get into this game. Right, so this Vickers gun kind of needs to capture this point for the game to continue now, because we're at 23 tickets and counting. Oh, the Commandos come straight in onto the victory point. Ah, masterful. Okay, Barcode. I forgot that you could do this. Nice. Alright, this game is getting down to the wire here. The Vickers gun is going to... Oh, mid gets decapped, though. That's huge. The Vickers gun not able to get the pin in time. The 3-star vet Ostrupant can take some fire before they start bricking it, so... Okay, war speed is now on the Firefly. That's really important to note as well, because that could be huge in a fight involving the Panther and the Firefly. 16, 15 tickets and counting. The Vickers gun gets up on top of South, will get the decap before the Panzer Grenadiers can get in there, might die for it. The Commandos will achieve their mission up here in North. If only they could booby trap the point. This Vickers gun is getting destroyed in mid. That is a... What is this? Mortar cover comes down. That is actually doing grievous damage. He gets the MG42. That's the most important thing to have gotten, because now British units can access the middle VP. Changes his mind, though. I feel like that was a reasonable time to try and get in there, bro. But wants to respond to this Panther, which is coming in deep. Is this advisable, Fire and Terror? We got 126 tickets. We didn't need to make anything happen. Do we have the munitions for Tulips? No, we don't. We don't have the munitions, but the Panther is so low. The Firefly will take this one. Donk. Oh my god, he misses. He rolls a miss. Oh god! There's a huge artillery operation coming down there, but I want to capture the fight between the Firefly and the Panther. That should be a win, right? Yeah, okay, there we go. The Panther goes down. What is going on in this game? Massive explosions coming down in mid. 6 tickets and counting. UK forces get onto mid, but Panzer Grenadiers are here and angry, and they will defend, and that will be the game. Nicely done. Fire and Terror coming through in a clutch finale to an epic 1 hour, 3 minute, 36-minute brawl that featured 3 comets, 4 Panthers, and a load of other insane stuff. What a game! That was a great one. Yes. Oh, I love it when we get a sweet game to cast. Oh, awesome. Wow. Well, I'm glad. It seems like everybody really enjoyed that one as well. You can't really hope for more from a game of Company of Heroes 2. So putting on my analysis hat for a second here. A very interesting game. So long that there were so many pivotal moments that I won't be able to encapsulate everything. But I think it's fair to say this was a game that was made very interesting because we had 2 high-level players, and both of them played a really high-level game but also made mistakes, and that tends to lead to like the best games where you have 2 players who don't quite play perfectly. And to be honest, more often than not, that's the case, because RTS and Company of Heroes 2 is insanely hard, so nobody plays perfectly. I think it's fair to say there were mistakes made, overcommitments here and there, unit composition choices here and there from both players that we were all like, wow, is that really the best idea? But they did their best, and they gave us one hell of a show. So it's really difficult to pick a point where I think that Barcode like lost that game. But for me, I feel like the most I will check the stats for post-game analysis, but I feel like the most meaningful moment was when the UKF player made the decision to replace their lost unit cap with mortar pits and not a comet. And I feel like from there they became the underdog and were not able to recover and then the game ended. So I feel like that for me was like the one thing that I could point to and say maybe that was where the game was swung. So there we go. What a fantastic game. Would love to hear you guys' thoughts on that one. Let's go ahead and have a look at the stats here and see if we can glean any wisdom, any nuggets of knowledge from the stat screen. Yeah, 2 mortar pits wouldn't have been bad, but needed the second comet first for sure. And also, I'm not sure that the supply cap was there for 2 mortar pits and a comet. I think it might have been a choice between the 2. But in any case, yeah, good point. All right. Shout out to Prime Clarity. Thank you very much for the follow. Much appreciated. Those alerts are clearly not working, so I need to sort out what is going on with that. I really apologize that the alerts aren't working for follows. They seem to be working for other things. It's very confusing. But I will get that fixed as soon as I'm able to. And it's very much a learning process with me and Twitch. Anyway, let's have a look at these stats. So it's always difficult to really draw too many conclusions from this exact screen. But we can take a look here at the army value. There we go. So I think it was like around about here that the comet was lost. I reckon that this chunk here is that first comet going down, and then this is the mortar pits being rebuilt. I think somewhere around here, and then like this is the next comet going down, and we can see that from this point, I think that was where the mortar pits were built. I think it was from here. You can see that the UKF player was never quite able to recover, although we do have a point here where the army values are nearly at parity once again. So I believe that was like after a lot of the Panthers died, and the Royal Engineers like managed to flood through into the into the east side of the map, capture a lot of points, wipe out a load of units, and do a lot of work there. So interesting to see a graphical representation of that. Let's have a look at the efficiency of the units and the amounts that were lost here. So Panzer Grenadiers doing pretty well in that game despite 4 units lost, 6 built. The PaK 43 AT gun produced 3, awkwardly 8 lost, but that's because you can recrew those units. Doing reasonable damage, but I mean, not the best numbers, so I feel like my skepticism in this choice is somewhat justified. The GR34 is kicking ass, that's good to see. Let's just have a look through. 4 Panthers, performing decently. The Stug E's looking smart as well. So, how much does it cost just to upgrade Tulips? I believe it's 60. But somebody with better game knowledge may be able to tell me differently. All right, so let's have a look at things from Barcode's point of view. So the assault officer was apparently exceptional, so that's pretty good. Those infantry sections as well, taking names. The Royal Engineers were legends. I mean, I know I'm just looking at the efficiency number, which doesn't really tell you the whole story at all, but like those Royal Engineers were so clutch in so many times in that game. Um, so yeah, the Comets performing acceptably. The Horsa Glider doing abysmally. God, that thing was terrible. So yeah, is there any other numbers anybody else particularly wants to see? Just give me a heads up real quick while we got these stats on the screen, and we'll check on anything that people want to see. I feel like I've covered the most important things. Sorry. Wow, what a game! Does the mortar pit show up anywhere? That's interesting. Apparently it does not. Yeah, I would really have liked to have seen the numbers. There we go. Another reason why the mortar pit is super lame. Apparently it doesn't show up on the stats. So crazy times, absolutely crazy times. Right, what a game! That was a banger. Loved it. That was sweet. All right, let me just quickly see if there's anything cool looking in the live game lobby. So we've got Koz and P. I don't actually recognize either of them, but they have got some observers, so maybe there's something good going on there. Denker and Major Kusanagi, one of whom I've cast in the past. We've got a Kanji and Arkless, and we've got Mr. Nobody and Leon Bass. So it's not the most exciting. Oh, that's Tiramisu and PFC? Is that who that is? Do we know that? Oh, okay, sweet. Okay, yeah, sure. We'll jump ahead and cast that one. Be nice to mix it up as well. Get some OKW versus USF. So as this game loads in, that was like it was like I don't know what was that? Probably an hour and 10 minutes for the players of like extreme exertion and action. For me, a much easier ride. But I was talking the whole time, so I'm gonna give myself a little break here. Make myself a new cup of tea. Just give my voice a little break. So what we're gonna do is load this one in, and then I will hit pause. And then what time are we now? I think 10 minutes should be fine for me. So I'm going to take a quick 10-minute break. Here we go. Let's get this one loaded up. And then we'll go ahead and introduce these two players upon my return. So yeah, thank you very much to everybody for tuning in. It means the world to me. We've got a great turnout today, and I'm super hyped. Chat has been awesome. You guys are the best. Thank you very much for your thoughts, your wisdom, and your knowledge. I'm going to go for a quick... going to make a cup of tea, stretch my legs, and just kind of, have a quick break. But I will be back shortly. Let's get some Magpie. We'll be right back. There we go. Super professional looking stuff. This is the way we do. You know what we can do is actually just center that horizontally. Boop. There we go. Actually, that looks terrible. All right, we're just going to put it right in the middle. Magpie will be right back. I'll tell you what. Magpie will be back at 1:15. Groovy. Okay. Whoop. There we go. Okay, guys, I will see you at 1:15. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully this game's going to be as good as the first one. And yeah, I will catch you guys very soon. Okay. What's up, guys? Wow, that seems a lot louder than it was before. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Bonk. Hey, everybody. What's up? I'm back. Well, what a killer first game we had today. That one was absolutely awesome. I feel like we got a really good one there. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into another game. But actually, before we do so, let's just do a quick announcement. That's right. Midday Magpie. I'm going to be casting every day this week at 1100 hours GMT. That is midday UK time. Use Google to figure out what time that is and come join us. It'll be loads of fun. I'm really happy and really glad and really honoured that so many people have tuned in today. It's really cool. And it's locked down at the moment, so I've got way too much free time. This is what I'm doing with it. I'm having a blast. I'm learning about streaming, and I'm just, it's hilarious fun. So yeah, it'll be really fun. We're going to be casting Company of Heroes 2 games every day. We're probably going to be playing some games as well, maybe casting some other stuff as well, perhaps some Deserts of Karak, maybe some Magic the Gathering Arena. We'll just have to figure it out. Definitely starting off with Company of Heroes 2 though each day, because that's just something I like doing. So yeah, there we go. That's what's going to be happening this week. Oh yeah, you can catch the VODs. If you can't join us live, you can catch the VODs on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/magpie42. Ding! Cool, alright. There we go. Plug is done. Without further ado, let's jump on in to the second game that we're going to cast today. Spawning in the North. Why is this so loud? This feels really loud all of a sudden. Oh, anyway. There we go. Spawning in the North here, playing as the OKW pieces. It is going to be Co's. And spawning in the South, playing as the United States pieces. It's going to be P. Now, I was told by Jibber Jabber Jobber in chat that this is PFC and Tiramisu, who are like really good players. But Company of Heroes 2, being what it is, does let people just change their usernames on the fly whenever they like. So that's that is that is an assumption that we have to make, that those are the two players that we're casting. Forgive me while I drink this little milkshake I made. Got to keep the energy level strong for these streams. So we're going to be mixing it up today with UFC versus OKW. Sorry, with United States versus OKW, and that'll be a nice contrast to our first game where we had Brits and Wehrmacht. Wow, actually, this means that I haven't got my Soviet hit for the day. That's, oof. Well, maybe later. We'll see. But it'll be nice to showcase these two factions here. Let's take a look at the commanders that our two players are rolling with. So Co's rolling with the Elite Armored Doctrine, the Luftwaffe Ground Support Doctrine, and the Scavenge Doctrine. Whereas PFC will be rolling with the Airborne Doctrine, the Heavy Cavalry Commander, and the Engineer? It's either Engineer or Infantry. I think he's Infantry, isn't he? Infantry Company! Look at me! I got 3 out of 3 American commanders. That is a win for Magpie. My United States knowledge is like so bad. So, as the initial scuffles get underway, looks like it's just pretty standard stuff here for both these two guys. Nothing sort of right out there or anything. In fact, there are no Panzer Fusiliers stuff here, and in any case, yeah. So it's not going to be anything super crazy for Co's. We're going to have a look at what tech the American player opts to go for momentarily. Most of the time it's Lieutenant for American players these days. Storm Pioneer is getting cut down, actually. The focus fire really good from the American player. Unlikely to get a squad wipe, but taking a fairly convincing engage on the south side of the map here is a nice way to get things started. And that should enable PFC to lay claim to whichever parts of the map they like. Going to reconnect this cutoff, so there was some value gained in that push there by Co's. Going to grab the cutoff, but not for long. And let's check the tech here. So it is going to be Lieutenant tech for the American player. That is the direction that we are used to seeing American players take most games. Up to 4 squads of Volksgrenadiers. No Kubelwagen. To be honest, this is not the best Kubelwagen map, so that makes sense to me. All right, there's the Lieutenant Tech 3/4 ton ambulance, going to be hot on his heels. And the first Vermax Schlepper going to be moving out here. And then we'll know what Koz is going to do with this game. Now, we are pretty much used to seeing Battle Gripper tech at the moment. Any cool bulletins? Datton, my man, you are bang on. I always forget to check these things, but you are pulling me up on it. And to be honest, we are starting to learn more about the game and the differences they make because of it. So that's awesome. Let's have a look. We've got medical abilities cost 7% less for Storm Pioneers. That is actually reasonable. That's okay. That's going to save you like 30 or 40 munitions a game, probably. Riflemen and Volks Grenadiers have increased accuracy and their rifles cool down and reload faster. So a little bit of a DPS bump there for Volks Grenadiers. Gonna help you try and take those early game fights and then just be useful throughout the game. Not the most impactful though. We've got Riflemen and Volks Grenadiers increased accuracy, cooldown, and Riflemen gain veterancy 10% faster. That is actually pretty cool. The first star of veterancy for Riflemen, of course, really significant because that's when you get the anti-vehicle rifle grenade, which is really big. And often, not often, but we do see in games from time to time riflemen who wish they had a rifle grenade and they're so close to having it but they don't, and if they just don't have it, well then that Panzer II or that 222 scout car or whatever it is going to be able to abuse them, and it completely changes the dynamic. So that 10% faster veterancy, I could see that being pretty useful. Volks Grenadiers getting shredded here. The Lieutenant is here, Tommy gun blazing, Garan's just hailing just tons of lead into these Axis units, and that is a quad fallback. Getting a lot of value out of that fight there as PFC, and that should enable large swathes of the map to start turning red here. Flak half-track going to be the unit out of choice here, and it was, as I suggested, it might be a Battle Gripper HQ openings here, so about as standard as it gets for these two players here. Yeah, 10% is pretty significant when it comes to veterancy, especially for a core infantry unit with such a transformational or like high utility first star of veterancy ability. It's really good. What do Volks Grenadiers get at Vet 1? Remind me. Increased survivability. Damn, Volks Grenadiers are good. Just having a quick read through of these abilities. Volks Grenadiers are so good. Yeah, Volks Grenadiers are one of the main reasons why I find it very hard to go back to playing Vermax. I love Vermax, but since OKW came out, I've just been an OKW man. I do play Vermax here and there because they are really fun, and I like the way that they approach the game, but they're so unforgiving. If you make like a small slip up at any stage of the game, it's like you often just die with Vermax, and I feel like with OKW that's just not quite the case. Anyway, STG is coming down at pretty early timing here for Koz. So that's pretty cool. The flak half-track going to be used to police back some American infantry. It was the Lieutenant over here. So yeah, STG's coming down on 2 squads of these Volks. That's that 45 still. No, it's 60 now. Wow. So that is a lot of munitions to have splurged on STGs at this early timing. And, you know, 10% veterancy bulletins are all good and well, but you know what gives veterancy, like, really fast? Putting good guns on your infantry, because then obviously they do more damage, so the veterancy springs up real fast. So I feel as though those STGs are going to pay dividends as long as the units aren't unlucky enough to get wiped. And we can see Axis units coming in deep, grabbing the cutoff again and taking a sweet set of fights here on the map against PFC. So that's really nicely done. But the Stuart is not far away, and there is no Kettenwerfer in the roster right now. So Koz actually really needs a Kettenwerfer to be the next thing that comes out here. This half-track is actually so far forwards as well that... Okay, he will pull it back. I was going to say, could be a bit risky. The Stuart can just come out onto the field, get on top of the flak half-track, and that is just over if that happens. I mean, yeah, the flak half-track can pop smoke, but it's just not really going to be enough to save it from a Stuart most of the time, so... 50 caliber going to be added in here. Oh, yeah, okay. It's going to be an infantry company game. Okay, I actually think that this is a sweet commander. Any commander for USF that gives you access to the 1919 LMG racks is powerful, because the 1919 LMG is powerful. It does so much damage. It's not as good at firing on the move as the BAR. It's much more like microing the LMG-42 squads on Grenadiers or the DP LMGs on Guards. But if you are okay microing your squads in that way, the 1919 LMG will make your enemies pay. Like, it's just brutal. So we can just watch as these riflemen begin to scythe down the Volks. And for all that I was saying about the 10% veterancy thing not being that good and putting powerful weapons on your infantry is the way to get veterancy quick, Well, the USF player, PFC, going to be embracing that here by going for the finest of weaponry for these American squads. Now, a big fight being taken by both players here, and this Stuart is actually being very cautious, content for now just to chip shots into the infantry, doesn't want to expose itself to a Faust, and that is actually enabling this flak half-track to continue to find value in a fight involving the Stuart, which is quite rare. It's even going to come forward here and try and get some shots into the 50 cal. Has to be careful. Armor-piercing ammo does get popped on that 50 cal, but it gets immediately suppressed, and you have to think the flak half-track is going to win out in that fight. Now the Stuart thinking about chipping in, but now the Kettenwerfer has had enough time to come out onto the field and is in position. In the west, it looks like American forces get caught by an incendiary grenade, but these Volks are trading as best they can, but they're still going to have to fall back. This is too much angry Americans. Yikes, and staying for a really good amount of damage there. Those STGs trading out for fantastic work at close range. Hang on a second, we've got a mortar half-track coming out. Infantry company. I secretly really like this commander for USF. It's just great. And now we've got a mortar half-track on the field. Excellent stuff. So does it have any kind of cool barrages? Mortar barrage, smoke barrage, delayed fuse HE barrage. I've not seen this used. That's new to me. And then we get the so that's a veterancy ability, but we do get the white phosphorus barrage. So yeah, a couple of interesting different types of barrages afforded by this unit, and it is of course quite difficult to track down. It doesn't have a setup or teardown time, and so that makes it quite slippery to get to grips with for a mortar unit. So liking the composition here from PFC. Yeah, I really like this composition. Did he lose a rifleman squad though? I think he lost a rifleman squad. Did I miss that? Yeah, he lost a rifleman squad. Okay, I missed that. My bad. I'm so good at missing units going down. Wow, okay. I mean, getting a rifleman squad kill is sick. And we're up to SDGs on 4 squads of Volks now, so the damage is real. Going to be adding in a live field gun to this, which is nice. As a fight going on here in mid. This mortar half-track is awkwardly inching forwards and back. You just want to leave it still so that the boys inside can keep firing mortars, really. Flak half-track here is going to be used to hopefully retain control over mid here, as these riflemen trying to get something done, but the flak half-track is quite good. I tell you what though, they're just out of range, so they are going to get it done. Mortar half-track is just going to keep taking shots. Repairing Storm Pioneers are so weak! The fallback comes down just in the nick of time. That was like a bullseye mortar. Actually, somebody in chat who hopefully could tell me, do Storm Pioneers still take increased damage whilst they're repairing? Is that still a thing in the game? Because as far as I know, that's not been changed. So yeah, if somebody out there who knows could tell me, that would be super useful to know. Thank you. So okay, looks like Ko's going to be continuing to apply pressure. Volks blazing as the flak half-track continues to find shots on American infantry. Does have its first star of veterancy, so that smoke ability now much more usable. And the Stuart doing its best to repulse this advance, but actually not finding the best of value. I mean, it's doing okay, it's doing fine, but it's not getting off to the start in life that Stuarts sometimes do. Live field gun, you can see beginning to cast shells in, and that will start countering this this 50 cal. He actually picks off the 50 cal. If he can pick that up, that is huge. Can he grab this 50 caliber machine gun? The Volks Grenadier is opting not to come in for it. Does he know that that's dropped? Okay, the flak half-track is going to come in, and that will make it very difficult for American forces to get this 50 cal back. And now the Volks Grenadiers are going to come in. This is so big. Meanwhile, the Rakettenwerfer actually finds the Stuart here, so that's actually not going to be able to come in and help. Live gun shells raining in, suppression from the 50 cal, and this OKW assault looks relentless. Wow, Koz is putting together a real showcase of all of the nasty stuff that OKW can do in the early stages of the game. Looking super spicy here, getting value out of all of the cool stuff. God damn. This is brutal. Nice dodge with the captain there. So we've had a side tech here for the American player. Going to be going for the captain, opting to complete the tech tree, opting to have access to the M1AT gun. And that sort of helps plug a weakness in the infantry commander, so I do like that. But that was a brutal assault. And now we're at 58 cap over 44. Look at the top left, look at the top right. You don't need me to tell you that this OKW army is lean and mean and just out to like cause damage and maraud the forces of PFC. This is really nice. Look at the amount of field control on Langriskaya. That is so hard to do. This is just a brutal, aggressive OKW wave. And the thing is... Sorry. Okay, yeah, so they do. Delirious Co. Thank you, buddy, for the knowledge bomb there. Much appreciated. So yeah, Storm Pioneers do still take increased damage while repairing, but that at Vet 4 is reduced, so absolutely great game knowledge. Thank you very much for sharing that with everyone. The Flak half-track coming in here, achieving 2 stars of veterancy, finding more damage, but here's the thing, I don't actually feel like this is an out-there composition. He's not even picked a commander, like, all he's doing is just continuing to take fights and just pushing in a logical, sensible way. Like, I don't think Koz was necessarily planning on pushing this far, but he's just been doing so well and is putting together a really well-coordinated assault. Like, okay, he loses a squad of Volks Grenadiers somewhere in there, so at last, PFC able to find some blood here. But yeah, I feel like this is just a really stable composition that can be used offensively, defensively, for harassing or to hold a hard point. This is like the most go-to default style that I see out of OKW, just that Ko's finding all of the sweetest fights, the most juicy engagements, and just hooning on PFC. This has been a ludicrous display of OKW aggression here for the first 15 minutes. Very nice to see. Triple cap is established, and the American player is actually trailing by quite a lot on Langra Squire, where the scoreline is very important usually. So that is a tough start in life for this American player. Obersoldaten are out on the field, and that of course tells us that the Schwerpanzer HQ is finished. You can see it on the minimap in a decent position actually, where it can cover a couple of points and the cutoff. Let's have a look here. Oh, all repair units take extra damage while repairing. I thought it was just Storm Pioneers. Huh, that's interesting. Wow, I honestly didn't know that. Maybe it just feels worse for Storm Pioneers because they're worth so much more, I don't know. Yeah, Dan saying that the Stuart feels like it should have done way more damage. I'm with you, man. This thing's been firing more or less consistently. Perhaps he's just not been finding the lucky hits with the cannon rounds. But ouch, even gets tagged here. That is probably, I think, the first time I've seen it get tagged by a Faust. So it has been firing more or less continuously. This flak half track has just been G. Look at it go. Now Obersoldaten here with the LMG-34, just cracking in with insanely high DPS, vetting up very nicely. And of course, that's a squad that really wants to do that. The Obersoldaten just scales so well with veterancy. Bundle Grenade going to force American units out of this building, in fact going to demolish it, preventing further use. Now the Obersoldaten kind of a little bit stranded. They're going to have to fall back, but they performed very well there. So really nice stuff. And PFC firmly on the back foot. This is so brutal. Panzer authorization has finished, and the first Panzer IV is on the queue, testament to the amount of resource income that Koz has been able to enjoy this game. Look at the top left. That is a scary force. There's only one M1 AT gun on the roster right now. If anything happens to this AT gun, then PFC is in a terrible position. This is so nasty, and he's like flatlining on manpower. So it's not like we can just buy another AT gun right now. So this is just a really scary place to be. Finally, a lieutenant going to get onto middle VP and stop the bleeding at 272 in 17 minutes. That is some rapid work here that Ko has done on the scoreline. Very impressive. Yeah, some Volks did go down at some point. Yeah, the STG Volks did die. The Stuart just chipping in. Up to 2 stars of veterancy, coming up for 3, so it's kind of catching up now in terms of value. It's pretty good. Kettenwerfer just taking some shots, going to force that one back. Still on just the one Kettenwerfer, but that's okay. The American player doesn't really have anything that justifies the second Kettenwerfer. This Kettenwerfer now probably going to have to relocate because American force is going to take this flank. And now the Panzer IV makes itself felt. Pintle-mounted MG42 coming down in a timely fashion because the resources have just been flowing very smoothly for Koz in this game. The flak half-track just doing yet more utterly gribbly work here. And this captured 50 cal coming up for 1.5 stars of veterancy. Just a very smooth display of aggression in the face of what is usually terrifying USF units, like Riflemen with 1919 LMGs. Usually you take a lot of fights and another Rifleman squad goes down and the 1919 LMG is dropped. If the Obersoldaten... Oh my god! He's got Obersoldaten with a 1919 LMG and an LMG-34. Which synergize so strong, and that will be enough to instigate the GG from PFC. You don't often get an 18-minute game on Langra Skyer What a game. My god. Ko's just destroying his opponent there. That was horrifying. God. And that's why I play OKW. You can do stuff like that. He didn't even pick a commander. You just get to do that out of the box, right? That comes as standard. No add-ons, no extras. Slaps roof of OKW. This bad boy can fit so much spice. God damn. And that was against 1919 riflemen. Alright, so we've got Kanji vs. Koz on Crossroads Winter. I want to see more from Koz. Let's see what happens when Koz plays USF. As we head into our third game of the day, thank you very much once again to all of you fine, fantastic people in chat. It's been really fun hearing your thoughts and gaining the benefit of your wisdom and knowledge. And we've had so many people tune in today. This is just insane. I'm loving it. This is the inaugural Midday Magpie session, and it's just gone so well. I'm feeling it. This is so cool. Okay. Spawning on the north, here in Crossroads Winter, it is going to be the Grand Offensive Doctrine over Command West pieces of Kanji, who I appreciate that's not actually Kanji, this is really Chinese, but it's what I know as Kanji, and Kanji is just easy for me to say, so we're going to be calling them Kanji. Grand Offensive Doctrine there. For those of you who are not familiar, one of the best, in my opinion, OKW doctrines. And spawning in the south, playing as the United States Forces, having gotten off to a brutal... He's coming off the back of a brutal win, so the momentum probably on the side of Koz here. Oh, yeah, it will be Koz. So let's see, Koz opting to roll with Heavy Cav, Airborne Doctrine, and Engineer... Mechanized Company, okay. I'll get there. Yes, actually, yes, Datton. This is a game where we could see infrared obers. And it's going to be a Panzer Fusilier build, so already a little bit of spice in the roster here. Hey, question for you, chat. Does anybody know, in their vanilla state with no upgrades, do Panzer Fusiliers do more, less, or the same damage as Volksgrenadiers? Like, if they're just firing their rifles and being a 5-man infantry squad, is there a difference in damage output? I'm just curious because I don't actually know. Jibber Jabber Jobber chipping in immediately to say less damage for Panzer Fusiliers. Okay, interesting. So they are just less good with their KAR-98s than Volksgrenadiers are. And they cannot build sandbags, so about 10% less. So okay, so you really do need those G43s before the Panzer Fusiliers offer any real advantage, pardon me, over the Volks in combat. And even with the G43s, I mean, those are competing with STGs, so it's not just a simple upgrade, you know, there are pros and cons of each there. Going up to 3 squads of Panzer Fusiliers, who, let's remind ourselves, they get the Model 24 regular grenade, once we have a truck deployed, of course. They get the anti-tank rifle grenade, they get sprint at Veterancy 5, so we're unlikely to see that anytime soon, and they get the reconnaissance flare at Veterancy 1, so this is an alternate core infantry unit, which is quite a transformational option to have available. That is provided to OKW players by this doctrine and the... I want to say Breakthrough Doctrine? It is the Breakthrough Doctrine, yeah. And yeah, Panzer Fusiliers are really sick, so it's really cool to see them. They cost... Let's see how much they cost. 270 manpower, so they are 10 more expensive than Volksgrenadiers, so those are mostly the salient points and numbers to bear in mind when you are assessing Panzer Fusiliers against the unit that they tend to sort of compete with, the Volksgrenadier. So yeah, Schwervermacht Schlepper is on the way right here. Let's see if Koz is opting to go for Lefty Tech. It is indeed going to be Lieutenant Tech. So far so standard here for Koz, who I'm really keen to see what Koz is going to be doing here, because that last game was so dominating and convincing that I'm just excited to see what Koz is going to bring. Riflemen here in a pretty bad way, relatively outnumbered, probably going to have to start thinking about falling back at some point. Panzer Fusiliers continuing to pick them down with rifle fire. Yeah, let's check the bulletins. Datton, man, you are always on it with the bulletins. Nice. So we've got Panzer Fusilier buffs. Okay, so this is something that Kanji was coming in prepared for then. We've got the Obersoldaten rifle cooldown, and we've got the Volksgrenadier Panzerschreck has 2% increased armor penetration. That's a bit awkward, because Volksgrenadiers don't get Panzerschrecks anymore. Not sure about that. I mean, clearly this is an overhang from... So either this has not been adjusted and now doesn't do anything, or the tooltip hasn't been adjusted, which sometimes happens with Company of Heroes too. And this actually does buff the Storm Pioneer Panzerschreck, which is where that upgrade now is. Either way, 2% increased armor penetration on a Panzerschreck, which has quite good penetration anyway. Unlikely to be super meaningful. The bulletins here for Co's are all into riflemen gaining veterancy faster and the reloads being a little faster as well. So just rifleman focused stuff. And this appears to be the standard sort of build for USF players. It's triple rifleman into lieutenant into 3/4 ton ambulance, going to be coming out here momentarily. It's kind of what we're used to seeing. Heavy machine gun grouper. So MG34 going to be mixed into the roster at this timing here for Kanji. Ko's at the moment getting off to pretty decent control of the map. If I crack the tack, you can see that American forces are basically winning all fights on all areas of the map and pushing up. Going to be establishing the triple cap here momentarily. Going to be angling perhaps for double fuel in a second if these riflemen decide to push up. So a fine start here for Ko's. We'll see if this MG34 can help control the value which the American infantry is reaping on the battlefield right now. Yeah. I'm honestly not sure what I think about relying on Panzer Fusiliers these days, because Volks and Panzer Fusiliers have both changed quite a lot. Like, time was, Panzer Fusiliers used to be a 6-man squad. So there was like a little bit more differentiation between them and Volks, and now they're so similar. Panzer Fusiliers do clearly have a bit more utility, and what can you upgrade them with? Remind me again. So you can upgrade Panzer Fusiliers with the double Panzerschreck. Ah, well that's massive. So, I mean, veteran players may remember in the earlier days of OKW, you could upgrade your Volksgrenadiers, not with STGs, that was not an option, but with one Panzerschreck. So if you had 3 or 4 squads of Volks and each of them had one Panzerschreck, then your core infantry actually had a pretty decent way of dealing reliable, good damage to tanks. And that was really good. That's why they changed it. It was a little too good. Going to be a flat half-track Stuart, so basically a rerun of the previous game in terms of composition decision-making for these two players. And this is pretty standard. Double Shrek upgrade, the 100 munitions, being spent right now by Kanji on one of these squads is going to be the veteran squad of Panzer Fusiliers. So that Stuart, going to have to look out for that, but there's no Kettenwerfer yet, so it will just be the Fusilier squad. So if something happens to those Fusiliers, if the Stuart is able to sort of get on top of them and start shoving them around, or if they get beaten up and then pursued down by the Stuart, that is a potential weakness or vulnerability that Co's could look to exploit here. But all other things being equal, these Panzerschrecks ought to be able to ward off that Stuart quite well, as long as they're able to get the shots. Okay, so the Panzerschrecks get scouted here, and one of them even gets picked down as the light vehicles for both teams going to be moving out onto the map here. Looks like the Stuart going to be immediately tasked with just policing away this harassing Axis infantry, which is pestering the flanks of the American force, grabbing land as they go. So that's a fine job for the Stuart. It's just very well suited to policing stray infantry units like this. Here comes the flak half-track. Those Panzer Fusiliers have been shot right up, actually, so they are not really going to be able to take a fight with the Stuart for a little while here. They're still going to angle in. Okay, the fallback comes down, there we go, because they need to reinforce before they can really be useful. It's very risky having a double Panzerschreck squad out there on 2 men. So a Kettenwerfer will be getting mixed in here in response to the information that a Stuart is the choice. That makes sense. Yes, the double Panzerschreck is a big decrease in anti-infantry damage, yeah. Approximately 1/3. I mean, so if I crack the tack, you can see American forces are tightening the noose, grabbing the cutoffs. So this is an Axis player in considerable disarray right now, and steps will need to be taken to redress the situation. Get those resources flowing and sort of regain control over some key areas of the map here for Kanji. So Ko's off to another good start here, it looks like. Perhaps a less bombastic, less dynamic sort of start than in that previous game, where we saw really it was just a continuing death push until PFC left the game. We're not seeing quite that kind of dynamic yet. But this is definitely a fine start that any USF player would be happy to have. Interestingly now, we do see it's going to be Captain Tech coming out next. So Ko's clearly one of those American players that values having access to the captain as well as the lieutenant before the major. And I actually think this is super smart. It's very tempting to go straight from lieutenant to major, but that does leave holes in your composition. And not having access to an AT gun is big. These Panzer Fusiliers with the Shreks, again, getting flustered, and this means that now the Stuart can break through. And there's an exposed flak half-track and Schwerwehrmacht Schlepper back here, with very little that can help them. Smoke gets popped on the half-track, and that is an expensive smoke. That was the full whack of, what, 25 munitions? Yep. So that's nice. That's some value shaved off of the German forces there. And then he's going to pull back the Stuart in a very cautious fashion, as you really ought to. So that's great. Oh, the bazooka rear Esh died? Oh yeah, good spot. Thanks, Datton. Dude, you're a useful person to have in chat. Thanks. Yeah, the bazooka toting rear Esh have gone down. So we've got G43 upgrades finished on one of these Panzer Fusilier squads. MG34 catching a flanking squad of Americans here. They actually might be able to sneak out of the arc and continue to be annoying. Oh god, that's so annoying. Well, alrighty then, the captain here able to find a sweet engagement angle to put some pressure on this MG34. Now these riflemen could come back into the fight if Ko's fancies getting a pincer move or a sort of spit roast going on this MG34. Axis position down here in the sort of southeast of the map is looking pretty good though. Holding onto fuel and one of the VPs. What was that? Did he just lose? Yep, so that was the flak half-track going down. Ah, damn it, missed that one. Was that a rifle grenade? Was that an anti-vehicle rifle grenade, I believe? I'm not entirely sure as to what destroyed that. Where's the Stuart? The Stuart's out here repairing. Wow, okay, a lot happening in this game. A lot of stuff to keep track of. Schwer Panzer HQ has finished. And I imagine we will see Obersoldaten here in just a second. Obersoldaten just probably the best placed they've ever been in the meta at 340 manpower. That is an outrageously appealing proposition for Obersoldaten. Panzer Shrek upgrades also finishing on the Storm Pioneers. That's interesting. Actually, did they pick up this Panzer Shrek? Because it doesn't look as though they've actually bought their own one. So I feel like they picked this up off the... Oh, that's a Zook. Sorry, my bad. That is a Zook. Oh, so they got the Zook off the rear Esh. Nice. Okay, wow. Yeah, okay, already putting that Zook to good use. Wow. Anytime you can pick up a Zook on your Storm Pioneers, that feels really good. Does sacrifice a lot of their anti-infantry potential, but it's still some really valid hardware to have on a unit that you don't always want leading the charge, you know? This is often a unit that's lurking behind your core infantry units, repairing stuff and taking shots with the Zook. It's just a nice thing to have. Obersoldaten going to come out now, so those are on the field, so fingers crossed that we're going to see some infrared STGs in this game. That is a rare thing to see, and therefore ultra spicy and cool. It's a difficult upgrade to choose though, because it costs the same as the... Actually, it does cost a little bit less than the LMG-34, but the LMG-34 is such a powerful upgrade. In any case, the munitions aren't there right now for Kanji, but we'll see if they're able to make a choice on these Obersoldatens momentarily. This hard point down here for the Axis forces still holding strong. The MG-34 is down here, making life really annoying for any Americans who try to retake this this VP and munitions point. I really hope we see the infrared STGs now. Yeah, that is the Zook on the Storm Pioneers, Datton. That's a real nice pickup. Okay, so Ko's looking like they might actually have to play a game of Company of Heroes 2 here, rather than just like whatever you want to describe what we saw in the last game. Rather than do that, we might actually have to like engage with the mid game and make some teching choices beyond the first 10 minutes and stuff. So looking forward to seeing what Ko's is going to bring here. Let's just quickly check the American base. Major tech is actually done. Wow. So the major is out. And if I crack the tack here, we can see a nice sort of split for these two players, both of them with forces right the way across the map, making very sort of cerebral decisions about how to split their forces and where to position them. Looks like the American player goes with some interest in trying to flush out this pocket of resistance here, positioning the Stuart where it could catch units on the fallback if this pocket gets crushed, or just poking to have a look and see what was there. The composition for both these two players absolutely fine. Nice diversity. They both have anti-tank and anti-vehicle options aplenty. The captain here getting engaged by a couple of squads. We're going to have to see what happens, but now we've got a big fight coming down in the eastern flank here as American troops seek to engage with this hardpoint, and it looks like Kanji doesn't really feel like this is a winnable one, and the fallback path is long and hazardous, so opting to fall back these units at the earliest possible convenience. The MG34 just gets utterly picked down, though. The received accuracy on those weapon teams is a killer, and he will be losing the MG34. Donating that piece of hardware to the Americans is particularly rough. Actually, is he going to pick that up? Yeah, he will. So that's 3 MGs on the roster for Ko's now. One of them basically on the house, provided by the Germans. So that's really tough. This is going to be very hard for Kanji moving forwards now. Yeah, this is going to be really difficult for Kanji moving forwards. Infrared STGs! Yes, we've got the infrared obers. Wicked. Okay, they're engaging a Stuart right now. Not the best advert, but still. Awesome. What have we got here? Smoke pots come down to blind this MG34 and enable these Panzer Fusiliers to move up. The MG34 will pack up and move, though. Ko's wise to this. As American forces kind of just continuing to dominate. It's a hard life right now for the OKW player. But that's okay. You know, the scoreline damage is more than we'd like, but it is not the worst it could be. And this is a commander where you can stabilize behind a Tiger later on, and this is an absurdly good map for Tiger tanks. So this is definitely not unwinnable for Kanji, but it does look bad. We're struggling to really find any profitable engagements. Axis units are having to retreat more often than not in these fights, really before finding very much value. So that's a real tough place to be. Yeah, we got vampires on the obers, we sure do. But this is going to be an incredibly difficult game. I've got to be real here. Not actually sure. I mean, because we don't really have the fuel. Not quite sure what the right move is here for Kanji, because like we're just stuck in our base. Kind of fighting on the doorstep of the base now against an American player who has all the tools to keep you there, and who has teched correctly, and has actually picked heavy cavalry commander. So for the first time today, we see Ko's actually take a commander, and it will be heavy cav. So yeah, the Pershing is on the horizon. And that's going to be tough to deal with, to say the least. Infrared obers here doing their best to sort of pick away at the Axis units, but I mean, they're feeding into an MG. Hard not to do when your opponent has 3 of them on a map as small as Crossroads. Basically, MG's pretty much spaced out all over the place here. There is a light gun on the roster, which is going to be helping. You can see smoke shells coming down, but is it enough? These Panzer Fusiliers in a very damaged building, they have to be careful. American units just continuing to accrue value. You can see on the minimap and in the far distance here, there are American units just capping ground behind all of this fighting, just closing the noose in a sort of steady, proficient, cautious way. Nothing appears to be overextending. These Panzer Fusiliers on the chopping block. Nope, they will get out of there. And the Stuart doing good damage, getting beaten away for now by the Panzerschreck-toting Panzer Fusiliers. But how do you break this contain? Man, your opponent has MGs and anti-tank guns like covering all the main entrances to your base. And this is the thing on Crossroads. We do actually often see this. Like Crossroads is, because the players are so close together, it's disproportionately easy to pin your opponent back. And now the triple cap is really, really taking its toll. This is becoming too much scoreline damage to be sustaining here. Oversoldat are finally going to find a way onto middle VP, actually, so that's something. Will they be able to capture it? I don't know. This is 2 machine guns and a load of angry riflemen with BARs, so probably not. Are they yeah, they have to fall back. So the triple cap will continue. And this is very difficult right now for Kanji. Kanji is going to have the fuel in this game, perhaps to build a Panzer IV. So there's that. But even then, we're looking at 2 minutes of saving, because they're just getting no fuel income, really. I mean, or very reduced fuel income. So I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. The light gun is doing work, though. Up to 2 stars of veterancy, and that's a unit which is very good on the defense. The American player is going to have a hard time reaching that when it's firing from inside your base, so that's cool. Wouldn't even hate a second light gun because things look so dire here. Oh no, the M1 AT gun is actually starting to pick down the Schwerpanzer HQ. Storm Pioneer is desperately repairing that, but the DPS on the AT gun will overcome their repairs. Feeden mit Franz with the follow there. Thank you very much, my friend. Really appreciate the follow. I'm sorry that alerts at the moment appear to be broken. I'm going to have a look at that. We're not quite sure why they're not working, but I really appreciate the follow. That's really cool. Thank you so much. Stuart going to get destroyed? Oh no, the Panzerschreck misses. The Stuart should get destroyed here. Okay, the Stuart will get destroyed. So finally, Kanji is actually able to pick something out here. But, I mean, it's going to get replaced by a Pershing. And the Panzer IV is not even on the queue yet. So I feel like this has to be a Jagdpanzer game. Oh no, he lost the Schwerpanzer HQ. That's why. Oh, I forgot about that. Oh no. That's horrible. I mean, losing the Schwerpanzer HQ is probably game. And now the Pershing's going to come in for damage. And let the hooning begin. As this Pershing, kind of a bit confused about where it wants to be in life, but yeah, going to be heading out here. Whew. Oh god, I'm struggling to come up with a positive narrative or any kind of spin that makes it seem like this game is close, because it isn't. It is not close. Ko's seemingly absolutely shredding here. Somebody said that this is someone. Tiramisu, yeah. Well, Tiramisu is absolutely shredding on the ladder today. But you know what? I like watching games that aren't close as well. RTS is like that sometimes. You can't appreciate RTS if... Oh, the Panzer Fusiliers get rinsed. You can't appreciate RTS if you can't appreciate situations like this, you know? The thing about RTS is when you're doing well, it's easier to do more well. You know, when you're ahead, it's easier to get further ahead because the game rewards you for doing well. That is how all RTSs work. So a lot of games... Okay, he actually gets a pick off on a rear Esh squad there. A lot of games do look like one player getting curb stomped, and I'm okay with that, right? This is a hard life, right? This is Darwinian survival of the fittest out here. And I am okay with watching the mechanics of that play out in real time. It's... and that's what we're seeing. So, the triple cap still established for the American player. 79 tickets and counting. It's probably not going to go on for too much longer. The Pershing does have its engine busted. It is under the arc of a Rakettenwerfer. Is he just going to leave that there? That's a nice free Pershing. Rolls a miss. I can't believe he's going to get the Pershing like this. That's a double miss. Can we get the Pershing? And then he moves the Rakettenwerfer. What are we doing? Okay, there we go. He does get the Pershing. Alright. Finally. Yeah, these misses, yeah. Finally, something going well for Kanji in this game. Yikes. Okay, and then we're just going to leave the game at that point. All right, I like that. I like that. We got the dignity Pershing on the way out the door. It's like, ha! I destroyed your heavy tank. And with this, I concede the game. Like, that's okay. These things happen. Getting some dignity there, that's great. We like that. That's fine. But yeah, wow, Coase is just an absolute wrecking machine out on the ladder today. That, again, didn't really feel close. Yeah, A-Game pointing out that they were probably just attack grounds, and I think they were. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That would also explain why he just picked up the Rakettenwerfer and started moving. So yeah. But from our perspective, it did look a little strange, didn't it? All right, we'll have one more look for a final game to cast today. So we've got Kanji and the Sloth. Oh no, was Coase retired? Coase has retired from the ladder. El Dorado and the Angry Dutchman, actually. That's probably going to be a good one. We've not had any Soviets today, though. And I really want a Soviet game. The Sloth here is playing Soviets. Soviets on Vilshanka, though. I don't know why, but I always just see people losing with Soviets on Vilshanka in ways that I'm just like, why are you losing this way? I'm not sure how many more games of that I can take, but in the interest of getting a Soviet game in today, I feel like this has got to be the one to jump into. So I'm going to do that. We're going to hop into this game. And it looks like we've got about 4 minutes to kill here. Likely it's going to be about that. Siglis, we've got another follower. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the follow there, buddy. That is just absolutely massive. You are getting in on the ground floor of the Magpie phenomenon. No, I really appreciate the follow. That's really cool. We're just getting into streaming. We're just getting into Twitch. And it's really exciting that people are already pressing the follow button. So thank you. That means a lot to me. And it's great to see. And I'm really sorry that alerts aren't working. But they're just not working. I don't know why. I think it might be something to do with the custom GIF that I've got set up for those alerts. So I'm probably going to take that off and use one of the stock GIFs. And then we'll see if that works. Actually, I'll tell you what. After this video, we might try doing that. Actually, I wonder if we could just try doing that now. We've got 2 minutes to burn. Hang on, bear with me. Let's just go and adjust the alert box so that it uses a different GIF. Oh no, why is it not loading on this? Here we go. Yeah, okay then. Here we go. Great, got it. Okay, so we're going to change the custom GIF that I was using to a stock GIF from Streamlabs, who do all of my widgets. It's just not loading on my laptop though. That's really annoying. Okay, so it's going to be quite difficult for me to try and do that in real time. But I suppose I could just do it on the PC here because we've got like 90 seconds to burn. All right, we're just gonna try and edit this in real time on the PC here because I really do want to get these alerts fixed. Alerts are a really cool thing, and I just want them to be working. So even if it means not having my custom sound and my custom GIF, we're just going to choose a stock one for now and see if that fixes it. So let's go in here. Follows. Here's the one. Okay, so let's change to a stock one. Why wouldn't it? Oh, I see. That's a really annoying one. Okay, so we've got a Pokemon, we've got like a little thing there. Oh my god, we've got tails. Alright, there are some pretty cool stock GIFs. So I'll give them. These stock GIFs are a little bit better than I thought that they were going to be. Wow, they've got like the license from Nintendo to do some stuff. What? This is crazy. Man, there are some pretty cool stock GIFs in here. Alright, well let's pick that one. Yeah. And then we're going to choose a different file as well, a different sound file. When we can't use either of those, so let's use... Bear with me a second. Okay, we're just going to play some. Oh, we've got 6 minutes to do it. Oh, that is obnoxious. We're not going to use that. That's obnoxious. We're not going to use that. Oh god, these are all really obnoxious. These are so obnoxious. Alright, I tell you what. We're just going to... Okay, we've changed the GIF. We'll see if that does it. I'm going to have to find a sound that is not totally obnoxious to have. And hopefully these alerts are going to start working. Let's just hit a quick test.
Excellent.
Did that come up? Okay, that's totally not changed. Alright, we're going to have to work on this at some point. For now, I'm just going to keep doing the casting. I'm really sorry. that alerts are being so troublesome to work at the moment. So, let's go ahead and introduce our two players. Spawning in the east here, on Vilshanka, playing as the Overcommand West Pieces, coming on the back of a loss, but going with the same commander, Grand Defensive Doctrine, and favouring a really Panzer Fusilier heavy style. It is going to be Kanji. And spawning in the west, playing as the Soviets, who we've not cast today, loving it. We've got the Sloth, who I'm hoping is going to be a little bit better at playing this game than an actual Sloth. That is not the most sort of prowess-heavy animal to have sort of picked, to have invoked as your username there. Okay, it's going to be a Kubel composition this time, and that actually makes sense. You've got to respond to the map, and the Kubel does that. This is a slightly bigger map, and the Kubelwagen will help you control your flanks and capture points in a faster way. So yeah, I like the Kubelwagen. It's going to come around the side of this cover as well, start hooning on these conscripts, forces the fallback there, so getting a nice engage off the bat here is Kanji. Things already looking a little bit better than they did in that last game, although I know this is very early days. Going up to 2 squads of Panzer Fusiliers, and it does seem that Kanji is just very happy or very comfortable with Panzer Fusilier-based compositions. We see the bulletins leaning into that. For our Soviet player, the bulletins are conscript DPS, and conscript DPS. So conscripts here being the focus of the buffs for the Sloth. People do seem to really like the core infantry buff bulletins, and I understand that because they're going to be relevant every game, and you always want your core infantry to vet up quickly. I do understand that. I wonder if there isn't more spice to be picked elsewhere, though. For example, like the Zis gun builds 50% faster. Like, isn't that insane? Doesn't that seem like mad value? Like, that actually seems game-changing, whereas little bits of DPS here and there, I'm not sure if that's game-changing. So anyway, have anti-vehicle grenades finished already? That is some quick anti-vehicle grenades, and they are going to connect with the Kubelwagen, breaking the engine on that one. Going to force it back here for a second to be repaired by the Storm Pioneers, who are presently engaged in a losing proposition against some conscripts down here in the south. They probably want to fall back because they are just feeding veterancy onto these conscripts here. There we go. And yeah, it's going to be additional. So we're up to 3 squads of Panzer Fusiliers. I think 3 squads was the happy place for Kanji in that previous game, right? Oh no, these engineers actually finding the stricken Kubelwagen, putting in some good damage, Moisten Gantz blazing. Not able to find the kill, so the plucky scout car will continue to survive for now. For any of you who've ever seen a Kubelwagen or sat in one, they are almost as charismatic as like a VW Beetle. They really are sweet little vehicles. I mean, you know, yeah. They're much maligned because they were used by the Nazi regime, but like they are a really cute little car, to be honest. And Schwimmwagens as well. Like, man, if I had like a home by a lake with a little pier and a Schwimmwagen that I could load picnics onto, and then go and have picnics out on an island in the lake with my Schwimmwagen, there's like, that's my Magpie retirement plan right there. That sounds beautiful. Yeah, Emma Duranke making the good point that it is less flashy to upgrade your core infantry, but yeah, it's always, every game they're going to be doing something. You know those bulletins are providing value somewhere. I just wonder if it's, like, actually worth it, you know? A-game, you dislike the existence of bulletins. You care to expand on that? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. About that, because, you know, when it comes to RTS design, I think you have a lot to say, and it's really interesting. Gets the kill there on a squad of conscripts, just using Panzer Fusiliers, so the Sloth, to be honest, that was a bit sloppy. No reason why we have to lose conscripts to just rifle fire. Just a bit of a delayed fallback there, and some good shots from those Panzer Fusiliers gonna come through with it. Do I not want your walls of text? Okay. Okay, I mean, for the record, personally, I don't actually like bulletins either. I don't think they add anything to the game that is worth justifying the amount of really weird integration and presence they have on the UI and stuff. Like, they're just... if the idea is that you can modify your forces in meaningful ways, that's quite a powerful thing to give RTS players the ability to do, and I think when the game launched, the idea was that bulletins would do that, and then very quickly the developers were just like, this is awful. and they just nerfed them to the point where the numbers are so meaningless. It's like, well, so surely we should just do away with the system, right? It wasn't a good idea. Let's not leave it as a poorly implemented bad idea in the game, is my feeling anyway. Yeah. Say what you will about Dawn of War 3. Do people still play that game? Oh, I wanted to like that game so much. Dawn of War was like so massive in the history of my friends and I. We played the hell out of Dawn of War 1 all the time. We loved that game. And Dawn of War 2 as well, we got a lot of value out of. My friends probably more than me on that one, but still, epic game. And we were so hyped about Dawn of War 3, and we were all playing it on release, and we were like, this doesn't really feel like Dawn of War. Like, what's happening here? And, you know, I even cast a couple of games here and there, and it was a very strange beast. I don't know what's happened to that game, because I haven't played it, like, since the month it came out, but I don't know if it's playable or good or better or not. Maybe I should check in with that game, but the fact that I haven't heard anything about it just doesn't seem to bode well, so yeah, that's a problem. I tell you what is also a problem, losing your Storm Pioneers. That's problematic. Oh my god, he gets away with them. Jeez, that's pretty close. Panzer Fusiliers out here in the west, though, finding value on the other side of the map, connecting up territory. The Sloth here actually under quite a lot of pressure. 3 squads of conscripts and a squad of engineers does match up quite poorly against 3 squads of Panzer Fusiliers, Storm Pioneers, and a Kubelwagen. So this is quite difficult right now for the Soviet player, having suffered an early squad wipe. Yeah, they do feel just like something. They're just superfluous. They're just window dressing that doesn't really do anything. Yes, the supply system was a serious source of controversy. Good God. Yeah, bulletins are just kind of... to be honest, I think Company of Heroes 2, when it released, which was what, 2013? 2012? Like, it was a long time ago. This RTS has been going strong. When it first came out, this RTS was like super groundbreaking in a number of ways. It did new things, and it tried to do new things, and it tried to do a lot of high concept stuff, some of which is amazing and works and is still a core part of what makes Company of Heroes 2 amazing today. Some of it we all realized quite quickly, or even quite slowly in some examples, like that it's not actually, doesn't make for a very good RTS playing experience. And I think the developers, probably more than anyone else, Relic, will have learned so much from Company of Heroes 2. And in spite of all of its phenomenal success and glaring failures, you know, I think as an experience for the developers, it's been very positive. And if they make Company of Heroes 3, which, like, they will, I think that the Company of Heroes 3 will be immeasurably better for everything that Relic have learned from Dawn of War 3 and Company of Heroes 2. So that's really cool. Having said that, though, yeah, I think I don't know. It's difficult really to have a conversation about like Company of Heroes 3 when it's not announced and we don't know anything about it or anything. But there's a lot of things that I really think that they will have learned from this game that will make that better. I think I'll probably leave it at that. And I had this idea, right? I had this idea to make Company of Heroes 2 faster to... Or just make Company of Heroes, forget the game. Just if we're doing a World War II RTS, to make it faster to play and play more like World War II actually did. How about this for an idea, right? So imagine you're playing Company of Heroes 2, but there's no base building, and you pick what units you start with, up to an agreed power limit or points value, okay? So you could use the unit cap, but it would need some tuning for balance, okay? So let's say that you are allowed 100 points of unit power, however you'd like to spend that, and then you fight your opponent. Each round, so you fight your opponent, each game has a 15-minute time limit, and units... veterancy carries on to the next game. Every game against your opponent is a best of 3, so if you win 2 rounds, you win. If your opponent and you each win 1, then it goes to a third one. It's a 15-minute time limit per round, 3 rounds in a game. And then after the first round of the game, you both get to change up to 40 points of your army. So if your opponent comes at you with a weird composition, you can adjust and you can sideboard your army for round 2 and 3. Veterancy stays on units unless they're killed, in which case they have to start the next round with no veterancy. What would you guys think of that? That way a game could take no longer than 45 minutes. probably 50 minutes once you allow people time for sideboarding, and it would be really tactical. You can make the maps flow better. You don't need to worry about base building, which I know people like doing in RTS, but it doesn't really work in a World War II setting. Like, it just doesn't really work for me. Like, you know, that's kind of Steel Division. Yeah, you're not far off. Yeah, I mean, that's just an idea I had like a couple of years ago where I was like, that'd be really cool, I'd play that. A-Game pointing out that, yeah, they made mods for that for Company of Heroes 1. Awesome. I'm glad that someone else out there is thinking kind of like I am. So, anyway, turning my attention back to this game for a moment. Oh god, this is a dead T-70. Yikes. Okay, so, yeah, it's a dead T-70 right there. Oh no, he stopped it as well. Oh well. Sloth here having a super hard time. Having lost the T-70, we're now down to 3 squads of conscripts and 2 squads of engineers against 3 squads of Panzer Fusiliers with upgrades and veterancy and Obersoldaten and Storm Pioneers and a Kugelwagen. That's rough. Yeah, fair to say it's been rough, but that's okay because we're having a cool discussion about Company of Heroes 2 and the lessons developers have learned and RTS design in general, and I like doing that. That's cool. But yeah, that is kind of Steel Division, and I have to say, Steel Division is the real World War II RTS, isn't it? I mean, it's so well done in terms of the graphics, the gameplay, the design, the pacing. You just cannot really fault Steel Division. That's a brilliant game. They made that just beautifully. Eugen Systems have had a lot of practice making games like that, and it shows. They're very good at it. However, it doesn't feel like a conventional RTS, does it? It doesn't feel like Company of Heroes, and that's why Company of Heroes still exists and is still popular, because Steel Division is much more concerned with grand strategy and battle line level sort of decision making, and it's very different to this where you get to see every grenade and see every shot and see the detail on every tank. Like, you're not really doing that in Steel Division because the action's much more zoomed out. If I'm honest with you, I think Steel Division is the much better game, but I enjoy Company of Heroes 2 more, so that's a really difficult sort of place to be. Is there any chance of me casting Steel Division 2 perhaps in the future? There is a massive chance of me casting Steel Division in the future. I do not own Steel Division 2. I don't know if it's on sale. If it's ever on sale, I might pick it up. I do own Steel Division 1, and I love it, and I still play it sometimes with my friends. It's great. I love it. It's just such a sick game. I would love to cast it. But as Sloth here is just getting beaten down by Axis forces, I'm just going to sort of have a rampaging talk about other things. Yeah, I would love to cast Steel Division. One of the things that I love about Company of Heroes 2 that no other RTS actually does, not even StarCraft, is it makes it very easy for casters, because you have the spectate button, you have the live game lobby, and you can just cast games that are happening. No other RTS does that, so a problem with other RTSs, from my point of view, is I have to go and find replays. And you might not think that's so bad, and I don't mind spending the time and the effort, that's not my concern. The concern for me is whenever you have to go and find replays, you know something about that game, and that for me is a little bit deflating. So you know, usually people upload replays that they won, so you normally know who the winner is by who's uploaded the replays, and that just deflates the tension and detracts from the drama of the RTS for me. And you normally know that it's going to be a spectacular or above average game in some way, or else they wouldn't have uploaded the replay. So again, you just know things about the game, and perhaps I have a mind that's very used to figuring out information from hints like this, but I just feel like I know what's coming, and it just detracts from the experience for me, which is a shame. A good way to circumvent this is to pick up tourney replays. Absolutely, and that's why I love casting tournaments. That's why the other kind of casting that I get involved in mostly is tournament casting. And to be honest, I've not done my research. I assume that there are Steel Division tournaments, and if I can find the replays for them, I will go ahead and get it. I will just go ahead and get the game and figure out everything else later. Perhaps, as my Twitch stream develops, this is like a sort of stream goal that I could put on, like, you know, if people fancy donating or giving me some bits or whatever towards buying Steel Division 2, then that's a thing that we could go and do. So that might be a fun thing to do for the stream, to be honest, to try and like have a stream goal of getting Magpie Steel Division 2, because yeah, I would love to cast that game. Mines! I would love to cast that game. How is Sloth still alive? We're on like 2 squads of conscripts, 2 squads of engineers, a Maxim and a Zisgun against such reckless Axis fury. This one's been quite one-sided. But again, I don't really mind because we're taking the opportunity just to talk about stuff. Yeah, so... There have been other RTSs that I've really wanted to cast, like StarCraft 2 I really want to cast, but again, it's quite difficult to find replays that are not spoilered. And also, I think with StarCraft 2 especially, because it's played at such a high level, even though I've been watching and playing the game for 10 years or so, I still feel like I shouldn't be talking about it, because it's such an advanced, such a streamlined, amazing RTS, that I just feel like anything I say about it is just immediately going to be wrong, and players and everyone with better knowledge is going to be like, this guy's an idiot. And to be honest, I don't let that bother me about Company of Heroes 2, so maybe I shouldn't let it bother me about StarCraft 2, and I should just cast that a lot more, because god damn, I love that game. I have a serious case of over-promising, like most casters. Yeah, sure. Probably. But that's because I want to cast stuff. And to be honest, I'm not promising anything yet, but I mean, I would love to cast Steel Division 2, and I would love to cast StarCraft 2. To be honest, it's been a long time since I've looked into doing either of those things, so I should probably go back and give that a look. That would be really exciting. And now that I'm streaming every day, I would love a bit more variety, so that's really cool. Dawn of War 2 casts. Whew, oh, I don't know about that. I'm not maybe. Maybe. Dawn of War 2 is a great game. It's just so old and so played. I'm not sure about casting it. Like, I just feel like I know that game so well. But I'll think about it. And 0K is another one that I've not gotten to grips with at all. I also have Ashes of the Singularity, but I don't know. Are people still playing that? I have no idea. I don't even know if that was a good RTS, but I do have a copy, so we could look at that maybe. I don't think it interests me as much as Steel Division, though. Okay, so the Sloth here has been under the ravages of a triple cap for some time. The scoreline beginning to slip away. I like the Mortar, I like the Maxim. I think we need a second Maxim, and we need more conscripts. And the manpower isn't there for all of that. But that will all be very helpful. That's a Tiger tank. Oh, yikes. I didn't realise that we were at, what is this, 17.5 minute OKW Tiger tank? Not bad. Not bad. That'll do. So against this Tiger tank there is 1 Zisgun and anti-vehicle grenades. So I feel like this is going to be quite difficult for Sloth. Dawn of War 2 has a community mod. I do not have any idea about the game then. Absolutely. Grey Knights are a playable race. Good god. It's fine, he's getting a conscript squad that counters tigers. Yep. You got it, man. Yeah.
We have 200 points remaining.
Yeah, Emma Duranke with just the good point. As long as I'm enjoying myself, the cast are good, and that is correct. And to be honest, I think in the past that's why I've been a bit cautious or conservative with the games that I cast, mostly just Deserts of Karak and Company of Heroes, because I know I love those games, and no matter what happens, I'm going to be hyped about them. But I feel like that's probably going to be the case for Steel Division, so yeah, thanks for reminding me that that game exists, everyone. That's really sick.
Capturing supply sector.
So, okay, yeah, the Axis noose tightening here. We've got the Vampire STG infrared on the Obersoldat, and you can see the little torches on those doing their stuff. Frangie smoke going to come down onto this Maxim. Damage being dealt. The Tiger has its engine donked there by some plucky conscripts, but the DPS isn't really there in the Soviet army to follow up on that. So, and the Zisgun not in position in any case to start punishing the Tiger. So yeah, the Sloth here just kind of getting hammered, and yeah, continuing to trail behind in the VPs. Yeah, A-Game making the good point that when you're making any kind of video product, you need to... There has to be some consistency, right? Because that's what people tune in for. They tune in because they like the theme or they like something about it, which is going to be consistently the case. And absolutely, it's the same for Twitch. It's the same for Twitch content producers and YouTube content producers, of which I am hesitantly classifying myself as now. I only say hesitantly because it's really just something I enjoy doing. I don't really see myself as a content producer. I just like casting games. So, but I am literally a content producer, so I can't deny that. But yeah, some consistency is needed. People do need to know what games to expect, and it's also kind of difficult for me because I play such a vast variety of games. Like I play FPSs, I play RTSs, I play beat 'em ups, like I play fighter games, I play all kinds of games. Really, I love loads of different kinds of games, and it's difficult to bring that to a stream in a way that makes any kind of coherent viewing experience. So yeah, that's a challenge for sure. The sloth is just getting wrecked out here. He could probably go ahead and leave this game. There's not enough units remaining now. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I love casting Company of Heroes 2 as well. What is that? Fiden mit Franz. Fieden mit Franz, yes. Yeah, I mean, I love Company of Heroes 2, and I'm probably going to keep casting that. And when Company of Heroes 3 comes out, I'm going to cast the hell out of that. I mean, I love this game. I love this format. It's really engaging to cast, and it's really fun. Okay, there wasn't really very much to say about that game, so I'm going to bring you guys back to a picture of my face here, and we're just going to have a little chat for a few minutes but as we kind of sign this stream off. But yeah, the Tiger won the game, but I think the game was kind of won before the Tiger came out. The Tiger just ended the game. Yeah, fantastic. Well, this has been a really awesome Midday Magpie, the first Midday Magpie, which is what I'm going to be calling for now until I think of anything better. These little streams that I'm going to be doing. I'll be joining you all for the same time tomorrow. Let's bring up the schedule here, announcement. Here we go. So Midday Magpie, I'll be coming at you every day this week, Monday to Friday, at midday UK time. So that's 1100 hours GMT. Chat has been amazing. I love you guys. It's been so cool interacting with everyone and hearing your thoughts and having access to your game knowledge, and just it's been so cool. So if you can, I would love it if you guys could join me in real time. And if you can't, you can catch the VODs at youtube.com/magpie842. So that's when and where it's going to be happening for this week. And this has been really cool. This week I've been doing so much streaming, more so than ever before. This week and last week, and I've been learning so much. It's just been absolutely sick. Did you know it's only today that for the first time I figured out that there's a studio mode on OBS which does all the things that I've been wanting it to do. For ages I've been like, why doesn't OBS have a studio mode? And then I'm like, oh, that's embarrassing. The button's there. It's been there the whole time. Yeah. If I like calling it Midday Magpie, it feels like I should invest in an accompanying jingle. Funny you should say that. You know what? I'm not going to show you right now because it's not plugged in and it's up there on a box. But a jingle is something that I am in the process of learning how to develop. So, yep, might have a jingle or two come into the stream, come into the channel. I thought that would be a fun thing to sort of gain a bit more skill in audio production and using sort of digital audio workspaces and things. So that's something that I'm learning to do. It's quite complicated and I don't know anything about it at all. And I'm also learning how to use Twitch and use Streamlabs and get better at OBS and use video editing software as well. So there's a lot of learning going on. But yes, jingles are a thing that I've thought of and they're in development. Sagli, what is DOK? DOK is Deserts of Karak, or in full, Homeworld Deserts of Karak, which is one of the greatest RTSs that you can buy today. Check it out on the Steam store. It's just great. It fell under the radar a bit because it was a lower profile release, and there were a couple of, on release it had a couple of critical flaws. It didn't really have very good online ladder, didn't have replays, so people couldn't cast it. And if you don't have replays and you don't have a really good online ladder, then your online community as a competitive RTS doesn't really get kicked off. And so because of those reasons, it wasn't super successful in terms of like player base. But it is still an amazing RTS, which players do love. And if you enjoy it, you can head onto the Discord and you can find tournaments and you can find games. And it's a great community and it's a great RTS. Definitely one of the best out there. Amazing. So yeah. Cool. Okay. This has literally been my best stream ever, I think. Like, this has been such fun. So what time is it now? It's coming up to... So we've been up for... What have we done? We've been up for nearly 2 3/4 hours on terms of uptime. I know I had a quick break in the middle of that, but I think that's a pretty good innings. I feel really positive. I feel like I'm learning skills. I feel like the stream's building. Viewership today was like... literally blew my mind. There was like a solid 15 average viewers. Like, we were between 10 and 15 the whole time, but usually on the top side of 15, like above 15, which is amazing. Literally yesterday, after I did my stream, I went onto Twitch and I started watching somebody who was like playing an RTS, and I was just like, he'd been streaming for a couple of years, and he was just streaming to like 25 people, like constantly the whole time he was playing, and I was just like, bro, if I could stream to 25 people whenever I come on and do stuff, I would be so happy. And like, I thought it would take me like, honestly, I was thinking yesterday it would take me years to get to that point. And today we're like nearly there, which is like, oh my God, so cool. We're going to get alerts fixed, and we're going to keep learning and getting better. And it's really great. So anyway, thank you very much to all of you for tuning in. You're all the best. Like, the Twitch chat's just been epic. So yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, this for now will be Magpie842 signing out. But yeah, that's it. I'm just going to make sure that I haven't missed any cool stuff in chat. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Thanks very much, everybody. Magpie out.